Hi guys, and welcome to this interesting chat this interesting show that we're going to do. Sorry that I am late, or that we are late. We wanted to make sure that we could share the screen and we didn't have any technical difficulties. And this is our first live, so make sure that everybody is nice in the comments and nice in the if you're watching this later on, nice in the comments, nice in the chat. We only allow positivity here. And so if you're new here or whatever, it's best to refer back to the video of why I work with Ted and some of my work with him. So we're not going to do any negative stuff. We're all going to be open-minded and just, yeah, that's how we're going to do it. So appreciate you guys being here. This is going to be kind of a fun live tonight. Very interesting. We're going to have one of my favorite astrologers on. And we're going to discuss a little bit about what she does, what she specializes in, etc. And then we're going to talk about kind of my chart a little bit with the work that I do. And then we're going to go into mine and Ted's chart together. And then we'll probably field questions if you guys have any. So this is going to be kind of her show tonight. I'll be here kind of, asking questions, helping her along. But this is she's going to explain all this because this is beyond what I know. So be nice, and I hope you guys enjoy this live. So let me bring on our wonderful guest, Kangi. Probably I'm totally saying your name wrong. Kangi. Okay. I butcher your name, so I apologize.
I'm going to breathe here. This is like so weird going live and in front of a bunch of strangers, but
it's okay. Like I told you, we're just having a conversation. Everybody's cool, and yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay, and I do have a question for you with this. Yeah. How do I see the comments of people?
Okay, so you should be able to go to comments at the top. I don't know because I don't see your side, but there should be a comment thing. Yeah, and you can go there and you can see all the comments. And then if you need to private chat me, there's a private chat area too.
Okay, now I can see the comments. Yes. Got it. Okay. Hi, Lizzie. Okay, so my name is Kangi. I do different types of astrologies, but right now I'm just concentrating on Horary Astrology. Horary stands for the hour. And what that is it actually can answer a specific question. So, for example, all random things, but it has to do with relationships. Like, let's say you like someone and you talked and exchanged numbers and you wonder if they're going to call or you're going to go on a date. Are they really interested in you? A Horary chart will be able to tell you that. It will also tell you kind of like the motives, if it's the beginning of stages, or sometimes if you're going to get back together, or if they're seeing someone else. You can see cheating in a chart. These things also show, will I be moving? But you got to have like a time frame because it is a chart of the hour. Somehow the universe, the transits in the sky at that moment is exactly for what is your question is about. I've been doing this for a few years, and I studied under some of like the great Horary astrologers that have, they're just amazing teachers. And so time and time again, I still get shocked at how accurate these charts are. Like, let's say you're debating on a new computer. Should you buy this one or that one? A Horary chart will show that. Should you make a bid on a house? Is the house in good shape? If you're looking for a car, a chart can show, will it suit your needs? Is the seller being honest? Is it overpriced? Will it have, what type of problems does it have, or will it have? Like sometimes it could be something simple, electronically, or it could be something major. A chart will show that of whether you want to buy a vehicle or not, a home, or purchase pretty much anything. We can look at that. I also do some finding lost objects. But those, if it's a lost object chart, I would have to really have you guide through it, because it all will depend on where you are sitting in your house at the moment, the directions of where things are and where you last had them. It has a lot to do with that, but there's just so much. So that's mainly what I do right now. I don't do natal charts right now. I don't do solar return charts unless you were a previous client, because I'm just so busy. I just don't have time for new natal charts. So all I'm doing for new clients is horary, answering, like I said, specific questions. And if you email me, you book it. If I can't answer the question or you need to redefine the question, I'll let you know that ahead of time. Or if a chart can't be read, sometimes the chart cannot be read and there's actually ancient warning signals in a chart. And that's just usually has to do with part of your path in a crossroads that you have to experience without the help of the free will, because that happens when it has to do with our nodes.
They're asking how long when you start doing this.
Oh, geez.
And we're supposed to start working together eventually, we're hoping, with finding people, right?
Yes. That's how actually how I got interested in Rachel is I pull a lot of and it's Horary charts, like I said, of the moment. And I pulled the murder of the Idaho 4 chart and scenarios. And so I got my description of the perpetrator, all of this, these different kinds of things and situations that were involved. Rachel was the only one who did a reading that matched up with the chart in as many points that I could see. So that's how I discovered her and really started watching some of her stuff and then pulling up charts from cases that she's done, and where it gives a lot of clues and spot on stuff. That's like forensic astrology. So I do that, especially if it has to do with murders and killing and those kind of things. But me and Rachel both have a certain degree in our chart, which is 22 degrees. 22 degrees is the kill or be killed degree in a natal chart. Doesn't mean you're going to die. It doesn't mean you're going to be killed. I mean, possibly it could, but hers is with her south and north node. And so your south node is all of these things and knowledge that you came into this world with that you can utilize to get to like your next steps and destinies. And hers is in the 12th house. And the 12th house is the veil, which is beyond the veil, where you can be in one world and be here on earth, but also be in connection with source, God, however you want to describe it. So she came in this way. And the 12th house is also the portal, because it is between the earth and the spirit realm and also the underworld. That is the house placement. So she came in through this way with that gatement, with these things that have to do with killings or fight or flight, do or die situations. And my Mars is at 22 degrees of Capricorn on her south node. And it trines my Pluto, and Pluto can be massive things. It's also power. It's also death. It's also a transforming thing and understanding these things. And so that trines my Mars that's on her south node. Also, my moon is on her north node, and moon is comfort, environment. It's also your ancestries, especially in the past. I'm talking like past genetic, spiritual ancestry. My moon is on her north node. So when I also discovered that, then I was like, okay, because when she contacted me to look at her charts and stuff, like I said, I was super busy. But when I seen some of her degrees, I was like, nope, I have to do her, because we had especially when it came to the nose, that's all a part of destinies for a bigger purpose and a bigger cause. Since we had these connections, I just had to take her chart. And
I'm getting chills. Chills is so true. So I got chills all over my body.
Oh, it was so. But the thing is, like I said, the kill or be killed. A lot of people just get freaked out about it, But you look at what you're doing with these things. The 12th house is also research. It's also the hidden things. It's also prisons. It's, like where you're confined. It's also hermit mode. It's also like when we'll be our recluse. It could be our bedroom. These different things. So especially when it comes to psychology people, I mean, like the people that's been in a mental institution or should have some type of mental disorder that could cause, kill or damage or harm, or they've been harmed, Rachel will pick up on that because she has that ping of that gateway there. Because her Saturn is in Libra at 22 degrees also, and that squares that. So with a square, that means it's pushing. It's pushing to be there. And since Saturn in Libra, it's to get justice. And since it's in the 8th house of death, it's also transforming, which then can also bring the karmic justice to the people that have crossed over. That's a really big part of what she is supposed to do. And she can see these things and understand these things, and it doesn't faze her because she also understands with that higher octave of where her Jupiter is, which is to the source, to the spiritual, to the belief systems and people's belief system. Hers is in Scorpio with Jupiter. Jupiter is in the ancient text called Marduk, which is the, God, Allah, the Lord, who did take a step back and has as emissary the other planets, to take on as well, because it gave us free will, which is our planets in our chart. So even though we are born in a certain circumstances, we can use these energies in our advantage. The only time where if we get too far off course or whatever, what we agree to come in is when the eclipses in the south and north node action happens. That's not planetary energies that we can utilize and can control. So since it's her south and north node, she pretty much doesn't have any choice. If she doesn't do this,
I'm forced.
I don't know. She might be in a mental institution. She might go to prison. She might do something like that. I mean, It could be anything. But Saturn is one of the lords of karma. Saturn is also the past, our karmic past, our ancestry past. It's also authority and judgment, like the government. So if she sees someone that's going to be arrested or go to jail, and and those kind of things, she will know. So trust her in any of the cases that she does. If that's going to happen, it's going to happen.
That's already happened with Delphi and Idaho. Those were two that I got arrested.
I'm glad you brought up Delphi.
Yeah.
Okay. Because like I said, I also work with asteroids. I learned astrology backwards, and I can tell you how I got into it. It may sound strange to some people, but you are on the Psychic Sleuth channel, so I think you might be okay with this.
Yeah.
But one night I had a dream, and I had this dream, and it's so strange, and I was out in space on like this conveyor belt, kind of like you see at the airport when you don't want to like drag your luggage, and there's this conveyor belt that goes across. It was like that with like these ropes on the side, and I had like a guide of like these spirit people. It was just weird, and it was all very fluorescent, kind of like neon colors. And they're just giving me this guided tour of space, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is this is Sedna, and it's an asteroid." And like, "Oh, Sedna, she's bad news. She'll take any man down." And these kind of things. They start pointing out these asteroids. And then I woke up, and but I have dreams where I know I'm supposed to remember. So I started Googling the asteroid Sedna, and it turned out to be an actual real thing. And I was like, holy shit. I don't know if I can swear on this channel, but I was just
I do.
But that's how I was like, and so then I started looking at more of it, and some astrologer did a post on Bill Clinton's chart. And this was when Bill Clinton was going through, it was the transits when he was going through the Monica Lewinsky scandal and the cheating scandal and things like that. Well, Sedna was squaring him, but also there's an asteroid called Hillary. There's an asteroid called Flowers. There's an asteroid called Monica. And all of these asteroids were pinging Bill Clinton's chart. So when I read that, I was like, oh, there's more to this. So then I started researching asteroids and astrology. I know basics of planets because, we just hear about that stuff, but I really didn't study it. And then I was into fixed stars and the stories of the fixed stars and what they mean and what positions our planets are in. And I learned a lot of that from Bernadette Brady. She's got great books out there. She's an amazing teacher. She teaches at a college in London, but she's from Australia. So then I did fixed stars. And I know a lot of people are into fixed stars now when they talk about Aldebaran or Antares or, really the big ones. And then I finally started learning about planets. So I did everything backwards.
Hey,
But
you got
that's
there.
when I became a believer, and it was because of asteroids. So what I did, Rachel, is I pulled up and looked at a lot of asteroids that are in your chart that shows your psychic ability. Okay. One of the most powerful psychic ability asteroids is Magellan. Yours is in your first house. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse or not. But
No, the chart's not up. Are you trying to show a chart?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Let me share it for you. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay. I was like, it disappeared, but I
Let me
didn't know
see if
you
I
meant to do
remember
that.
how to do it. Is it settings? No. Shoot.
It's the present thing, but I don't know if it's the present button.
Okay, but it's gone. Oh, there it is. Never mind. It's not in the same place it was. Okay, so I'm going to do share screen. We tested this out, and I'm going to see if I can share screen.
Should be able to share screen, and then we have to put it on the.
I do the window, and then we do this. Okay, I think I got it.
There we go.
Tell me it worked.
Yeah, now we have to add it to the screen.
I'm so happy about that because
there we go. There we go. How's that?
My biggest fears is that it wouldn't work.
It's all right. We're all good. Okay. Look at all those lines.
Okay. I don't know. Can you see my mouse at all?
Yeah, can see it.
You can. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So like the first, I made little notes up here. The first one, like I said, is Magellan. And yours is down here. It's blue. It says MAG. And it's in Pisces. In your first house of your body and yourself. Okay. This is you. Your first house, your ascendant is like really you here on Earth. So you have it at 10 degrees of Pisces. And Pisces, we already know, is the 12th house, beyond the veil house. It trines your Jupiter in Scorpio in the 9th house, right? And the 9th house is that, like I said, is where things go beyond. So since it's a trine, you do receive information, okay, from Jupiter to this asteroid, in your body. It's just natural. And there's really nothing you can do about it because it's natural. So it was, these things were bound to happen. And then plus being in Scorpio also makes sense. It has a lot to do with this, but also when we talk about belief systems and Jupiter is the one that, he's like the gift giver, they say he's the one that brings abundance and luck and stuff like that. But it's also where when a lot of people, when they start like looking into religion or whatever they believe in, whether it's, how they eat, how they don't, but people are always striving and going beyond to learn and gain more knowledge because the knowledge is out there, but going directly to source is where Jupiter is. And that's where she's getting this, that's one of the areas for her psychic ability. She also has telepathy, which, where she can be telepathic and to get things through. That's why she can really connect to someone that's talking, because then she can get into their mind and their DNA if they're like looking for loved ones or want to know about certain things. She can trigger those things. And hers is at 16 degrees of Capricorn, again in the 12th house, beyond the veil. And it squares her moon in Libra in the 8th. Now with the moon, like I said, that is complete ancestors going back to the beginning of time, but it's also the endings. So someone's life who has ended or the end of the matter. Since it squares, she constantly will get with the moon's ebbs and flows energy because it's the biggest conductor. Constantly we get that, and she'll get more and more that she hounds us, more also in her dreams. I don't know if you're experiencing more dreams, Rachel.
It depends. I notice the differences in my gifts with the moon,
Okay.
depending on what's going on with the moon. I don't. Sometimes I'm stronger, and sometimes I'm not. You know.
That's the ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, your moon is a disseminating moon, which also means it's slowly, when it's disseminating, that means it's past growing, learning new things. So part of you being here too is to bring this knowledge out, because you also, whatever you experience, you also then teach, because you have to leave what you know
Mhm.
for the people and for the next generations.
Makes sense. I do that a lot.
Okay. I'm just going to check the comments real quick just to make sure. Okay. So then also, it's also in the eighth house, right? Which we know has to do with death, the occult. It's also things, because that Pluto is one of its ruler. These things that are so hidden, and a lot of hidden things that a lot of average people can't look at or see, because some things can be like so gross, but if it's not seen and be brought out, it can't heal. It's like, let's say you have gangrene, right? You got to dig in there really deep to bring out that poison of that gangrene to be able to, like, live again type stuff. That's kind of the Pluto digs really deep under the surface and can go to the underworld. And so you can do that. And yours is in an intercepted sign. So which also means these things you don't have any control of. Okay. So it just freely happens. But also, since it's intercepted, when these things happen and you do that, you are protected, and you do have protection. And so it's a bunch. So these planets here, everything that you have here in Libra, the Moon, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto in the eighth house, all of these are all of these, you know, planets. They're gods, goddesses, however people want to talk about it. But the energy, all of them here are working through you. It's kind of like they're assigned to you. But it's part of their mission, and you're just one of the ones that they chose that they're going to use. And all of them are working together for this greater cause. Most of it is for justice, but also to get people to start to understand the spiritual world, and our spirit, once we cross over, is not who we were as a human here on earth. So not to condemn a spirit once it crosses over. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because that's what I always talk about, especially with Ted.
And that is also so important to you. Okay, these things would not be here, but since your Saturn is there in Libra, that in Saturn, that's where it's exalted, its best place to be outside of its own houses. But Saturn also rules you because your ascendant is Aquarius, your sun is Aquarius, which makes you like a double Aquarius, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
that is the pioneer. It's also the change maker, right? It is ruled by Saturn, and that's where your Saturn is. So truth and justice, but the thing is, Libra is also fairness. Be fair, even be fair to a spirit. Be fair, because when Saturn's there, that is the path of what the karma that they brought in. It was their choice. It was, and Saturn is contracts, because that's marriage, and Libra is marriage and contracts. Libra is also, believe it or not, our politics and our justice system. So a lot of that is why you can see the difference, and also why you're then, like I said, you're just the interpreter, that it just comes through. It has nothing to do with the act of what someone did in the physical body, in the physical realm, because this is a much bigger meaning. So I think a lot is you're going to be a part of helping people to understand the spirit world and our assignments here. and that also being able to connect with those things, because this is all old ancient knowledge that we lost through the years by indoctrination. Okay, so I'm not sure where to go. Okay, we were going to talk about Delphi, right?
Yeah, you were like, thanks for mentioning Delphi, and then
a vertex, and vertex is a certain entry point in our chart. So, and usually if something pings that, it will have some type of meaning. Like, let's say that day you met someone and there was a planet exactly at that degree on your vertex. That means that meaning means something. You may not ever talk to that person again, but something that person said to you will lead you to something else. It's important. Well, you have the asteroid Delphi, and also Delphi. If anyone wants to Google the Oracle Delphi, was the most powerful oracle, the most documented oracle in ancient history, and for prophecies. The Oracle of Delphi really had lots of it and could see and determine even countries, the fate of countries and people. And you have it at 9 degrees of Virgo, and it's retrograde, which means then this retrograde is like we're at a certain point, and now you're continuing that point. This asteroid is, but it's with your vertex. So, and it's the seventh house of partnership. So Delphi does work with you. And Delphi was believed to get messages straight from the god Apollo. And Apollo, Apollo is known to be the god of prophecies and healing. So that also gives you the ability, by when you do communicate or you do things with people, you have the ability also to heal.
I noticed that. I noticed, like, especially in regular readings, there's a change in their energy when we're done. Like, I can feel I don't know, I can feel the shift or the change, like a heaviness lifts. And that even happens sometimes with cases, but it's a lot of time in private readings. I noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the start of their healing. I've always said that. So that's interesting.
Well, to make it more interesting, you have the asteroid Apollo up here in Scorpio, in your ninth house, belief system, foreign travel, foreigners. It's also publishing, so you're going to publish more about these things. Okay, like, I know you said you already wrote a book, you're working on another one, but this is also here. But since it also has to do with the fourth house, a lot of this too, when people start understanding and start looking at people, even in our own family, that we just don't understand, we have to then realize it's still part of their whatever contract they signed or agreed to when they came in. Once we start looking at each other like that, we won't, I guess, we'll
be so judgmental
about what people do.
Yeah.
Because we will still see things differently in some areas, but there will be a reason for it. And that has to do with, you'll do a lot of then helping with the healing people and their home and their family situations, or how they feel about it, will be a part of your writing. And about these things, on how they feel about other things, especially like death. Scorpio's there, But what that is, that's also experiencing to then transcend to that next level of, our life. And your Apollo trines the asteroid Pan. Now, Pan is the uncivilized wild god, right? Sensual, extraordinary experience. I mean, in probably the word we could use is like a deviant nature. This is like someone who could have sex with an animal, who could have sex with the dead, it is whatever, but it's just that it's this unnatural, instinctual drive that they can't control type thing. Well, since your asteroid Apollo which, like I said, is the god of healing, and prophecy does trine that. And the Pan asteroid is ruled by your moon, then goes over here and pings everywhere in your telepathy. That is also why when it does come to like some of these really grotesque cases on serial killers and these kind of things that that repeat over and over again because it is retrograde, why these things, like I said, doesn't bother you and don't phase you, and why you're one that can just look at it and interpret it without feeling the grossness that we're taught to feel about it.
Yeah, I always wondered that because, my mentor used to tell me that. She's like, because you want to get to the justice of the situation, so you don't care like what information you see or you're able to get, like you can handle it. Because I don't see it like I'm watching TV. Like if I was watching it on TV, it'd probably be different. But for some reason, when I get the information, I'm more about trying to get the information and figure out how it fits than what I'm seeing, if that makes sense. Like I can handle it, especially with kids. A lot of people can't, but I tend to handle it really well, no matter what I see, kind of thing. So.
Oh, at Karma Energy, I just read it like from your comment with your situation, childhood sexual abuse. Rachel's going to get a lot of that and more of those, which is probably why you did so well with the Delphi case and those cases too, because that Pan energy is in the 5th house of children and then in the house of family. And these, those situations. But like I said, since it trines Apollo, it will bring healing to people. Okay, now, like I said, the Oracle of Delphi you have there, which is one of the stars. Then go to Medea. Medea is a psychic. You believe it's not like Medea, the movies and TV shows. It's actually a real thing. And yours is at 27 degrees in your 1st house, right here with your sun. So it is you, okay? And it trines your Pluto in Libra in the 8th. So again, bringing justice, but Pluto, death. It could be masses, murders. It can be, but whatever. You're still going to transform these things because you have that. Like I said, it's trining your Pluto there to bring out all these death situations, which is probably why you do a lot of crime stuff.
Yeah, that's why I'm so passionate about it, I think, is because that's what I'm just supposed to do, I guess.
Yeah, you are. I have to tell you, you are. Can't help it. And then Anubis. Now, I don't know if everyone knows anything about Anubis, which is an Egyptian god. Anubis has the knowledge of death, change, and the soul's journey, right? Anubis is the one that goes with you when you cross over, right? That protects you when you cross, when spirits die. Because that's also, people would also, when they go on journeys or faraway journeys back then, would ask Anubis for guidance.
He's like the one that has like the animal head and like he stands with like a staff or something.
He's a dog.
Yeah.
Okay. Dog, so it's like your protector.
It's like I'm seeing him when you're saying that. So I was like, am I seeing that? And he has like the striped cloth on his, like that he wears.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So with Anubis, you have it at 5 degrees of Leo. Let me see. Over here in the 6th house. So then this is a part of you offering service in this, right? But since it's in Leo, with some of these famous cases and stuff like that, there's also 5 degrees. That's also the sun degree, celebrity status, popular status, or someone who's got a big ego and did this thing because they wanted to be famous, or they think they can outsmart everybody else type. Okay. But since you do have Anubis there, and when you do go look into this, so it's also in a partnership, works with you, it does protect you and help guide you through it because it trines your Uranus. To me, your Uranus is off the charts, which is your 10th house. Uranus is electricity. It's the higher octave of Mercury, of communication. Like I said, it's the pioneer, it's the change maker in Sagittarius, people's belief systems, but also traveling to get beyond, to get to the knowledge. Anubis trines you. So that's also another area where you're getting extra protection, especially where you can go through the areas of the dead. Okay. So you have that too. I mean, this is the one that's all seeing of any danger. You know, that protects along the way. And then you have Hecate, I don't know how people pronounce it, but which is a diviner. A diviner, like how you do psychic things. Some people use pendulums, and I think I mentioned this before, you need to get a pendulum and you need to start working with it.
I have one, but I don't connect to it because I struggle on the map with it. I can't clear my mind.
You're trying to use it for mapping.
Yep.
Okay. Let me see where
I use it for yes and no, but you know, I always say it's an extension of me, and something you have to always clear your mind, because I can make it do whatever I want if I just think one thing or another. But I do use a pendulum. It's just I would like to use it on a map because I would like to be able to hone into an area, but I struggle
use
with
it
it.
on a map, but not for this country.
That's great.
Okay, so if you have foreign cases, you can.
Well, because Spirit was
Jupiter in foreign lands.
Spirit was trying to tell me to print out maps like of the areas I'm working and try it that way. Like maybe my phone wasn't working right. So that's what I was going to do, but I don't know what's right with it because nothing's ever been tested, so I don't know, like, okay, this is when I'm getting, you know, the ping, but I notice if I feel like I'm in a red area, it'll do it because I feel that. So that's how I don't know how to put that aside to my location is hard. I have a hard time.
Practice is before you know the answer, you can and maybe have
so before I do a reading,
I forgot her name. No, I forgot.
Tammy.
Yes, Tammy. Have Tammy, who will know the information, find some cases where, like, a body's been found, or where a criminal's been found. Okay, where we already know, and where they lived or where the crime scene happened. Have her pull up that information on a case that, you know, or there's tons that, you know, in the past history, right, that you don't know about. And then she can say, well, this is where the person lived. This is where the crime happened, okay, of the victim. And then print up that map and then ask your pendulum these questions. And then you'll know, Tammy will know the answer. Then you can get to know the direction that your pendulum's trying to tell you because you already know a case. But try to work with it before you know the Tammy gives you the answer.
Okay.
I
get frustrated on maps, so because even when I feel like I'm kind of a pendulum in that way, but the problem with it is I end up going where they lived, where they worked, and so I can pick up all these different places and I don't know exactly where the body is. But like Merced 4, I kept going back to the same place, so I take it as when I'm obsessed with an area, it's important. That's how I kind of take it as. But there's nothing that definitively tells me, yeah, they're right there. So I struggle with it. It frustrates me. I get so frustrated.
Like I said, you'll get better at it. You will. Especially when you start learning the clues that it gives you, right? Or you could even, then if that doesn't work, have a map, know whatever the answer you're looking for, like where the body is and where someone has found a body. Print that map, hold your pendulum and say, show me where so-and-so's body was found, right? But have the map where you already know where it is and see if it goes in that direction. And the more you practice with that, then that'll also help train it to be, and then you'll know which direction it's going to.
Okay. Yeah, I got to work on that. I got to print it out first.
Did I mean for her to do it in a foreign land? Well, she could. There'll be times in the future where she will be traveling. because the 10th house is in Jupiter, but that will be when she starts a whole new thing. I mean, it could be simple things where you might end up being like, what do you call one of those circuit speakers to speak on these things? Or there could be, you have your Mars here that trines your sun and things like that sometimes, but also but you'd keep it a secret because there's, or you might already be doing it, but keeping a secret of working with authorities, police, private investigators, those kind of things. You could be doing that, but that will be something that, well, probably most of them won't admit it.
Yeah, and it'll probably be in the future too, because it doesn't feel like it's anytime now.
Yeah, because it's here in the 8th, and then since you do have the foreign things with Uranus in the 4th house, and your 4th house is in Gemini with your Mercury. Mercury is right on the cusp of your 1st house, but it is in the 12th house. Usually that is the 12th house is also distant land or foreign land, but it's distant land that's on a coast, like an island, or like I said, it's going to be by on somewhere near coastal waters where you would might do something like that has to do with it. Oh, you really should probably talk more about that plane crashing thing or anything that's going to have with that kind of stuff, especially if it had to do with mountains. I think you mentioned you already did one, but you could actually become really good at those kind of things because you have Uranus. Uranus represents airplanes and helicopters.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, that was my first crash I've ever done anything on. And a lot of people disagreed with me, but I don't care. I don't care. I saw what I saw. Damn it.
Well, you're probably right. So, what else? And like I said, heck, divining when at a crossroads. You think about your crossroads, you're at what road is it on? Okay. Ask for her for help when you do it because she's there to help you. Okay. But she's also one that roams all 3 worlds. So you have that, and it sextiles your sun. So your sun, that's you, that's your spirit, that's your light, right? Because your Hecate is exactly 23 degrees of Sag, and your sun is exactly 23 degrees of Aquarius. Now, a sextile, though, is, like I said, it's offering of help. So it's not something that's natural. We have to recognize it and take the help. Okay. And so if you pay attention to planetary alignments, if a planet is going to get to 23 degrees of Sagittarius, especially when the moon does, because the moon will be there every month, sort of because it goes through each sign like every 30 days or so. You might want to look to see when the moon there is at around that 23 degrees of Sagittarius and practice your pendulum then, because then the moon will be pinging that to give it, to help you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we already talked about your south node, the karma, where it came from, and Saturn, that you're meant to do this, and it is for justice. It is to teach about people's belief system, the origins of things, and the end of the matter. When I say the end of the matter, once we die, then what happens to our spirit? These things are very much of what you're supposed to do. And I know we discussed it when I did a chart. Your Mercury is there, and you're going to keep talking about it, and you won't shut up about it, and no one will be able to stop you.
I have a double
Mercury
Aquarius.
is in Aquarius, which makes Mercury like 5 times the energy of a normal Mercury.
You guys know I don't shut up about things. That's an Aquarius thing anyways. It's like when I feel a certain way, I won't shut up about it. Everybody has to believe the way that I do.
Well, but the thing is, but what's nice though about your chart is it's all honest about, because Saturn is ancient truths. And like I said, we know a lot of stuff's been buried. We know now everything with the media, people can make this. It's just crazy, but it's old knowledge that us as humans used to have.
Yeah. I think we forget. We get stuck in that human mindset and we forget where we come from.
Well, a lot of it is because we were conditioned. Because a lot of people
Mhm.
stole and hid the knowledge, so certain powerful. But that ranking's getting ready to change. That's why so much is going to shit right now. But it's just it has to because Pluto just changed signs, so
To
things
Aquarius.
have to be destroyed to the core first, and only what needs to be kept will be kept. And it's going to be a whole new system of things. But it takes a while because Pluto's a slow planet. So, but it
It's
just
almost like the Tower card, right? Like everything has
yeah,
to fall so it can be rebuilt, kind
but
of
it
thing.
entered Aquarius, the
Hmm.
pioneers, the change
Yeah.
maker, the future. You know, but it is ruled by Saturn, which has to do with the past. But it's only going to bring the right structures and boundaries of Saturn that need to be brought in, instead of it just be such a strict thing that no one will bend. Or that confining thing. This all is about
Yeah.
really about freedom of the old authoritarian belief. And I'm sure we see a lot of it, especially since COVID, how many people really realized when they did it, especially a lot of the ones that couldn't go to work every day. I mean, yeah, they stress about money, but then they also really found time to just be themselves. And people started realizing their worth, you know? And that was a part of really changing people to really start being creative and doing what they love, or what they will take and won't take,
Hmm.
you know, from a boss or a job or a situation or those kind of things where they've been told, well, you have to do this, or you have to put your kid in childcare, you have to do like all these things that people say. People are realizing, no, why do I have to? You know, why does it have to be this way?
Hmm.
Type, and being in debt, and where things are with inflation, you're really set up now where people really can't afford anything, which is going to try to force you to do more than one job or take any job, no matter how bad it is, just because you're going to need the money so bad. This is like some of these last push efforts to keep control, because there's going to be a turnover in the way our world is. Now that, like I said, because Pluto went into Aquarius, which is you
Yeah.
also, by the way. So you're gonna have Pluto on your Mercury here real soon.
Is that a good thing?
I don't know. I would have to look at the solar transits for you that day. I'd have to look, okay? Gemini daughter have yeah. Okay, so what do you want to move on to next? And if you don't mind, if you talk to Scott for a minute while I take a bio break, I have to potty.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Do
And
you need me to remove you or you want to remove? I
I
can remove you for a
need
second.
to stop.
There you go. Okay, so we're gonna take just a quick break so she can go to the restroom real quick. I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. It's really interesting to me. I like super, super interesting. I love the astrology stuff. I don't understand. Like can't read charts. I get really confused, but I love it. I love how it can be really um accurate. It can be really accurate with things. Um so when I heard all this, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, at least I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing." But it makes complete sense for a lot of stuff. It makes complete sense. So yeah, it's really cool. But the thing is, I don't know if she's doing like the birth charts and stuff like that. She's just doing the questions, like she was explaining in the beginning. And so next we're gonna be talking about how I'm trying to think of what the heck I can talk about right now while she's gone. But next, we're gonna probably talk about how my chart intertwines with Ted's and how that all got started. So I'm glad you guys like it. I think it's very it's very interesting. I find it very interesting and not boring. But I love astrology. So she, like she said in the beginning, she doesn't really have time to do natal charts and things like that, but she can answer specific questions with people's charts. She explains it in the beginning, so if you want to go back when this is over, she explains what she offers. All of her information is down below. You can go to her booking link and her all of that. It's all below. So the houses, I mean, I can't tell you anything, but it's more complicated than just like one thing can do. Now, like she said, we have direct placements together, so we are supposed to work together. It's just getting it done. Because I always told her, I was like, well, how about I do a reading and then we do the astrology and then we see if we can get, the area. Because there's a way that you can locate using astrology with lines. So I was hoping like we can do that and then we can see like what I'm seeing, if it matches where the lines are, and maybe we can get more location details. So that's my idea. It's just, again, getting to do it. Or doing it, I guess. Lucy, yeah, she did surprise me, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we really get into the whole mine and Ted chart. That's really, really crazy. But learning all about this about myself, it was actually really surprising, because I always thought, like, am I supposed to do this, or why am I drawn to crime, or and basically I have to do this. Like, I don't have a choice. It's right here in my chart saying that I don't have a choice. If I don't do it, something bad's gonna happen. So I don't know. I lost her chart. It kind of came off for some reason. Oh, she took it off. Are you back? Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Because I'm just rambling, trying to think of what the heck to talk about while you're gone. Okay.
I was listening to your part in there. It was really interesting conversation.
It was really nothing. I was just trying to blabble until you got back.
You did great, I think. I think you did great. But the difference is, when it comes to the horary, I don't really look at the natal chart. I get asked the question. I pull the chart for the time that I understand the question, and it gives the answers. And I have been 97% accurate. There's only one where it was kind of iffy, but that's also because the person didn't give a correct information on something. But outside of that, that's what horary is.
Yeah, because I mean, we talked about that. We're like, oh, you're gonna, we were talking about when I should publish my book, and which,
well,
and then you're gonna move and all of that. So
the day I actually did your appointment, I pulled up the transits for when we did the appointment. At that time, the transit south node was exactly 10 degrees of Jupiter. I mean, 10 it was exactly 10 degrees of Scorpio, which your Jupiter is 10 degrees of Scorpio. Also, at the time I was reading your chart, the moon, the transit moon, was 26 degrees of Libra, and your Pluto is 26 degrees of Libra. And also at that time, Capricorn, the lot of spirit. We'll get into that when we get into the tension. But the lot of spirit is otherworldly connection. Okay. It's an otherworldly connection. So the lot of spirit was conjunct in the sky that day, Mercury retrograde. So that also in the house of 11th is also them bringing in a friendship. So somehow from otherworldly experience of bringing out this communication and things. Because when it comes to a lot of spirit, that's something where it really took a lot for all of these angels, gods, warriors, or whatever, to get together in like the lot of spirit placement. They don't just do it for no reason type thing. And since it was conjunct Mercury retrograde in Capricorn 11th house, like I said, a friendship is also helping. It's also helping the community collection. And since the Capricorn is our connection with Mars in the South Node, is my Mars is with your South Node, there is a connection. And then also transit lot of fortune, which is our lot in life and something we can physically do here on Earth, was at 10 degrees of Cancer, trining Jupiter at 10 degrees of Scorpio, which your Jupiter is. But also, my Mercury is at 10 degrees of Scorpio. So we had all of these exact pings that included the lot of spirit and the lot of fortune. Those are Arabic lots from the gods. Those were all pinging exactly, combining your touching part of my chart and your chart exactly when I was doing your reading.
That's crazy.
I know. I looked it up.
That's why I keep telling you, like, we totally need to do this case stuff, because I think between the reading and the astrology, like, we could probably get more exact locations.
Mm-hmm.
But I know with the astrology with location, it's hard. It's tough. It's a lot of work.
Well, part of it too that was hard. Where I was learning the mapping, some people were started going off the rails. You know, that is where you can take a chart, have a starting point, and you take the degrees of by miles and different things. Pulling up Google Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and I can plot those. One of the things was to be able to, for me to utilize and understand that map better, with having to start all over again, I'd have to pay for the service, and I wasn't about to. And I'm not about to in the next couple of months either.
Yeah. Unless people want to donate.
True. Yeah, if they want to donate and stuff like that, I will then purchase the software and I'll study it even more. But because of one of the mappings that I did, I think I told you that case of the Kevin Nugent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was from here in this town. Well, what I also pulled up on some things is that it's possible the body will be found in May of this year. So I'm actually going to go looking.
Yeah, and that chart matches what I got, right? Like we were talking about how you were saying, like, it matches everything that the chart says. So
yeah, when you
awesome.
say no, it's the main river, the big river, and all this other kind of stuff. And I know the person you're talking is talking about the St. George. That's wrong. It's the St. Mary's River, but also where the river, we do turn the river green on St. Patty's Day that you picked up. We do it from the Main Street Bridge over the St. Mary's River.
Okay.
And also along that corridor is where Saturn was in the mapping of when he was last seen on that security camera.
Mm-hmm.
That's the timing that I took. Saturn in the chart, when you're looking at these type of crimes, Saturn can represent the bones and the bodies where the bone and the body will be found.
Mm-hmm.
And it picked up a lot by where you said under a viaduct where you saw graffiti.
Mm-hmm.
There sure is the viaduct there going over the river with graffiti like that. So I've been looking this month for a dead body along the river.
And it also matched what we thought, what I picked up from Spirit about what happened, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That you saw the two guys and stuff like that absolutely makes sense, especially in that area, in that neighborhood. Because I used to live just 3 blocks from that bar.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that. Well, I know this one, that area and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, you ready to get into our TED Talk?
I don't even. I just mainly remember most of yours, but I do have Ted's chart, so I have to look closely at it here. I just want to make sure that I touched on like the main things of yours. Of course, yours is definitely more. I think. Yeah. Just want to double check. just the highlights, not everything that we went into about your chart, but there's just so much that is spot on. All right, let me find Ted's. Let me see. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to. It's like all of a sudden my mouse is possessed. Okay. But we want Ted's and yours, right? Next to each other? Okay.
Yeah. And it was I think we're gonna go with the first time we talked, and then second time we talked, and then Idaho.
Okay,
I
I'll
think was what
put
we were
this
doing.
up while we're on live if we have
If you have it.
But first I'm going to there. Got it. So I gotta find you again. There we go. Okay. I couldn't find my contacts, so I'm gonna put my glasses on here.
Oh no.
I have tons of them, but I have no idea where I put them on. Okay, so where is I gotta move this over just a little bit.
It's so weird how on my chart, like everything's in one area. Like all the lines are just all right there. And then they triangle.
Well, my problem here right now, I can only see part of that screen. It will not let me. Why? Okay, now I can see it. Oh no.
Oh no, what?
Um, I'm not showing on this chart here the lot of spirits. Your lot of spirits, though, is at 20 degrees. Oh, no, that's your lot of fortune. Okay, your lot of fortune is.
Is that the first reading?
No. This is his chart and your chart.
Oh, okay.
I
thought we were doing the readings. Gotcha.
No, first I was looking at where you guys are connected.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Ted's Uranus, okay, in the 10th house, which is what he's known for, right? Out there, famous for, but also his is retrograde coming back. 20 degrees is the 8th house degree of death, dying, sacred occult things. In Gemini, communicating. His Uranus is exactly on your lot of fortune. Your lot of fortune is 20 degrees of Gemini in the 4th house, right? The 4th house is, the alpha, the omega, the beginning, the end. His Uranus is on there. So Uranus, and we already know Uranus is really strong in your chart and a part of what you're supposed to do in that energy. And so having that connection as part of your lot of fortune and his Uranus, 10th house famous, is also then helping you. But it's not the first time that you guys have tag teamed together in your spirit cycles,
That makes sense.
because your lot of fortune is in the 4th house of, you know, all ancestry, what everything comes from, but also then where everything goes back to. His Uranus is there. That was one of the main connections that I saw, which I found astounding, because his Uranus is kind of off the charts with what he, what his mind is, you know, very smart, brilliant mind, but he was also, he's also got pan out there, which remember we said is like the wild god, the uncontrollable, the uncivilized, can be very sexual, lust, whatever. His is, so he's definitely famous for that. Okay.
Yeah.
And with in Gemini, which they call twins, but it's also multiple times. And his is retrograde, has done that. But it was all a part of his destiny because his North Node is up there, right? But what this helped to do was, without someone like him, we've a lot of case studies, and we've learned a lot about the human psyche and about finding clues and different things like that, is because of people like him.
Yep. I always say we learned a lot about serial killers because of people like him.
Now, and you have Anubis is at 5 degrees, but it's within 3 of his Saturn in the 12th house. His also is like, he has a lot of retrograde planets, and you have a few too, which means is he started on one point of a journey and wanted to continue on. It's not repeating the same mistakes. It's like he's trying to master a certain level. And with Saturn, that is a mastery thing also. But his the 8th house, which is death, transforming the things, hidden things. And it is, like I said, you have Anubis, the asteroid there, which then does give protection. Working with that famous person with Leo, right? The famous death and things. You have that connection.
So you're saying we've done this before, like past life kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes
Or
sense.
somehow it's like it has, because your lot of spirit or your lot of fortune is in the 4th house. And it's like I said, beginnings, endings, ancestry, like all the heritage, his is there. But it's also part of the pioneering change majors. All could be breaking free from some of these things. Okay, we had zero Delphi. Where's his? Where it goes? Okay. He actually has Psyche, which is very psychic asteroid, conjunct his lot of spirit. And lot of spirit, like I said, is other worldly things that we have control of, as unexplainable, right? Comes from a whole nother world. He has it conjunct Psyche and in his 1st house. So these things he was supposed to do for some reason, and part of his physical self and body. And it's within 1 degree of your Delphi asteroid in your 7th house of partnerships. Why some of his psychic ability is being pushed to you in this otherly world, which is probably why you were so accurate on the Delphi murders, because it's working with someone else, a partner in the 7th house, which was him.
So he was helping me with Delphi even though I didn't know he was helping me with Delphi? Holy crap.
because of those degrees.
We didn't talk about that before.
I know. I was just discovering. I was just pulling more up. We went over so much stuff. We went over like, Mexico. We went over so much crap that I think we're 6-7 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, now let me see here. I'm gonna hold this up like this. Let's check over here. Okay. His Pluto retrograde again. Okay. He's continuing this journey, but Pluto, famous, death, murders, massive, like I said, just also digs deep into things, is at 13 degrees in the 12th house, right? Of hitting things behind the veil. It is the exact degree as your descendant. Your descendant is 13 degrees, 57 minutes of Leo, which is working in partnership. His Pluto is there. So whether you like it or not, he thinks he's your partner in crime doing these things. Okay.
That's funny.
But Pluto is also the most powerful planet in anyone's chart because it also is power. Sometimes you'll find with Pluto is power struggles, which why you'll see a lot of rape cases or killings and stuff like that. Usually it doesn't have anything to do with love or attraction or anything. It is a power thing. It's having power over something. But it's also, if you look at your Pluto, it can also be your secret power on how you utilize it in your life. But, you know, Pluto does bring up all those really dark, nasty things. But it's going to be brought to light that can end up being famous in the news and stuff like that. He's working with you. 13 degrees and 13 degrees.
Wow.
So you have that. Let me keep looking over here. Two, 0, 3, 4, 22. Okay, there it is. So his Apollo asteroid. I remember, you know, Apollo is, you know, delivers prophecies and also healing. His is 16 degrees of Capricorn, which is on your telepathy asteroid of 16 degrees of Capricorn. So that's another connection, which also showed then, I think it was after your third reading where there was like, you could just change it and feel and change energy because his spirit on the other side had to do something before it could carry on to a certain level. So you were part of his spiritual healing. And especially for the things that he did just for pleasure, because it's on the 5th house. But he also, and also with his, but he does send you messages through the veil because your telepathy is in the 12th. And he actually enjoys it. He enjoys doing kind of things. He absolutely loves it. And so
he does like it.
He does. Because he actually enjoys this part more in the spiritual world of what he's doing than he did on Earth. On Earth, he really experienced the ego. I think he can outsmart, you know, those kind of things. He really did experience that a lot. But he was supposed to, because part of his lot and fortune, walking here on Earth was in Leo in the 12th house, famous prisoner, famous death, that those kind of things. But he's also going to be a part of now too with the 9th house, of really helping to change people's belief system between the worlds. That's still part of his lot in life, which is what you're trying to do. So through you two is going to help him also accomplish that. So he's supposed, yeah. So you're just the one that matches up then with these things, but you have these telepathic and these psychic connections between the two of you. Okay, I don't know what to say now. I just need to catch a breath, because right now I'm just getting so much energy from his chart and yours. It's just it's overwhelming. Okay. Now he's got Hecate, or Hecate, however someone wants to say it, one of those other ones. His is at 22 degrees of Cancer. This is the big one. Okay. In the 11th house. Your North Node, remember, is 22 degrees of Cancer, that kill or be killed degree, part of your service of what you're offering, but it's also what you're striving for in this life. Exactly 22 degrees, you guys have that connection. And he's doing it through as a friend from the 11th house. Lulu, I think you're absolutely right, because she does understand things people did here in life and the beyond. I think he enjoys that part too. And that's a part of it with him too, is for people to know that there's more about. Sometimes we have to have extreme situations for people to even pay attention, to be then the example of how things cycle with life and death, and then life and death again. Sometimes it's these big, like the role that he played here on Earth. It is really for a much bigger picture. And hopefully we'll start opening ourselves to really understanding people's journey. Maybe people won't get so upset with strangers, get so upset with people. Maybe we will end up having less killings, because a lot of killings are out of rage and anger, because someone wants to be heard, or wants someone to force them to believe or accept whatever they're trying to push. These kind of things, if we start realizing, just because this person like that, it doesn't affect me, that's just their part, maybe we won't get so upset and take it out on others. These kind of things. There's so much of this being described through his pan-deviant chart of these things, because when he's got the psyche in his lot of spirit and these other worldly connections, means this is coming in as a person, as an angel, and it's like Lucifer, and he was one of the messengers of light, but had to fall to understand the light in the darkness. And he's one of those. That's not an easy role to take on. So any more questions on these two? This is what I'm picking up right now.
Yeah, he played a major, role in different things. It's like I always say, it's a role that we play when we come here as a human, but that's not who we are as a spirit. So this was all, for it to be in our chart this way, it had to be predestined for us to communicate.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. It's Everything is Pan is 13 at Gemini.
So in a sense, is this kind of almost like a soul contract, but not? Like it's destined?
Oh no, it absolutely is.
Okay.
You understand, you guys, your spirits are working in tandem for the spirit world and for God and Source.
Gotcha. So he's probably been working with me when I don't know he's working with me, almost like a guide in a sense.
Yeah, well, because you look to with the Uranus there, right? This is all part of you two bringing change, and how people talk, communicate, writing, and you're going to write this stuff down, but also teaching, because it's even like this, even if it's just teaching baby steps, the beginning. But also when I say it's the lower levels, because to you it's so freaking simple, the concept, right? And you'll be able to try to break that down because, like I said, it's Uranus at 20 on your lot of fortune of what you're going to do physically here in this world. Remember, you also have the asteroid Pythia, who is that psychic and that oracle with your lot of fortune, where you're coming from, with his Uranus, which is, and his is in the 10th house to bring it out to the public, to bring it out, to be the change.
Which makes sense because with what he did on Earth as a human, it's hard to look past that for a lot of people with the humanity. So I think that's a big part of it.
It is. Let me see. We've been doing this for what, an hour and a half?
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel about then if we do like a part 2 on another day of then the charts with those 3 readings, or those 3 times you pinged him. Would that be okay?
Are you trying to ditch us now?
Sorta. All of a sudden, either we need to chat with the chat for a minute, because these charts, looking at them, and you have to understand some of these degrees are my degrees. So I'm pulled in. I'm a part of your guys's shit.
I mean, that's why you're here, because we wouldn't know about it.
It just depleted me, and it's like really overwhelming. So I just need to like take a little break here.
Yeah, you can take a break. You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's just do some lighthearted chat with the chat, because you have to understand my moon is at that 21 degrees of Cancer, which is on his Hecate, which is on your North Node, and all of that pinging. But I'm also getting a huge ping in the sky right now, because Jupiter is right there on the precipice, but is on my North Node of destiny, like right now is coming around to ping it. And the moon is going into Scorpio, and I'm a Scorpio, and my Mercury's there. So I'm getting this big ping right now that has to be destiny and God. And I don't know what it is.
Well, it's because this is important. Because exactly what he's wanting to do and I'm wanting to do are being put out to the world right now through a more astrological understanding. And he's here anyways. He's right here. Because, yeah, he's here.
Yeah,
so he's enjoying
your Jupiter at 10 degrees of Scorpio is on my Mercury. And Jupiter amplifies things on my Mercury. It's there. But like I said, all these things with the North, Jupiter is on my North Node. I guess it's supposed to be, it's also life-changing. Whatever's going to happen to me here in the near future or whatever, this is pinging something that has to do with one of my goals, or what I descended back here on Earth to do. And I'm not sure, but I'm really all of a sudden feeling the energy. It's like crazy.
It's because they're being pushy to you right now.
Yeah, and Ted's Mercury is on my Neptune. So Neptune is the veil that disintegrates all of the boundary. You know what I mean? That flow. His Mercury is on my Neptune, which is in my 7th house of partnerships. Okay, so this is all starting to intermingle with all 3 of us.
Well, and we talked about, because remember we had that idea for the book, and you said I should write it, but I can't write it without you. So there's another partnership, because I don't know this side of it. So
which is good that we're doing this, because then we have this for reference then to put in the book.
So then you can go back and
there's that.
Yeah.
Because my moon is out of bounds. Sometimes it's hard for me to go back over something I've already gone over. Once I'm done with it, I'm moving on to the next.
Yeah.
But like I said, my moon is, I think you have a planet out of bounds, don't you? I know my moon is out of bounds. Let me see. Let me check. Let me see. Rachel, listing.
It is strong energy, and that's what I'm saying, because it's supposed to be.
You feel it right now? It's like
world changing. So it's supposed to be world changing. That's why. But we're here for a reason. So that's what we're doing this right now. And he's here, and he's enjoying it a little too much.
Yeah.
I've never felt his energy in a room like this before.
Mm-hmm.
Different when I'm doing readings as to different when his energy is actually over here. Too bad I don't have my thing over here, my EMF.
Well, I think a part of it too is he's glad because there's someone else helping to explain and to give him justice.
Yeah.
A lot of what he did, yes, is horrible, but it's for a much bigger purpose that we don't understand.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you see, watch like Harry Potter, whatever things, and there's like the old white person or like you, and be like, no, not yet. But there's reasons for why people can't know everything right
Yeah.
away. There's a whole bigger thing connected with it.
Deborah said, did you say out of balance or out of bounds? Out of bounds,
Out of
right?
bounds. Out of bounds, which means don't color within the lines. My moon, um, the planets have it's kind of like if you see a track and you have the inner lane, the outer lane, and everyone has their lane when they're running the track. Okay. Now, my lane for my moon, it's out of bounds, which means it could be on the brink of greatness, but it's also having a certain knowledge that you're gifted with, but you can't explain why. That there's so much to it, but it's also I guess like for here to like, and I've done this, and I realize that now that I've learned astrology, like sometimes when I've like moved or been done with the relationship, I can just up and be done with it, leave crap behind, don't care. And once I'm done, it's like at one point, even though I was married, sometimes I remind myself that I was even married.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that because it's like back here because I've already done it, and it's and I just go on to the next. But when my moon being out of bounds, and mine exactly connects with my south and north node, is that I'm also an oracle and a gateway through there, which is why I receive messages and why I can see like these charts. Like I don't see what you see. I'm totally seeing all these energies and these things playing off. It's hard to explain.
No,
But
I
it's
get it.
there.
It's a gift, but also, I mean, you would feel energy off of something like this, anyways, because you're an astrologist. So you should feel the energy off it, and you should be able to see it like that.
Mhm. And like to me, there's no bad person, no good person, because each planet represents an energy. We know good and bad. That's just the way it is. It's how we utilize it. So I'm like you, I just look at it and that's what I see, and I am not gonna judge it.
Yeah.
Because
Because we all have a path, and like that's why I wanted to do this, to kind of show like the predestined kind of stuff, because a lot of people were really judgmental with it, and I don't feel like working with any other one that had this kind of human path. It's just him, and it's just him for a reason, and he was working with me before that. But you can
right.
see that in the connections in the chart. There's too many placements and things that, and it's supposed to bring, there's a bigger plan,
Hmm.
a bigger force at work for change and
Absolutely.
pioneering.
Like I said with Uranus, and you have to understand Uranus is also one of the greatest teacher because it does rule Aquarius, which is the water bearer and the all knowing, all the information. But Uranus is the one that actually did the universe, did astrology, taught Chiron. We all have Chiron in our chart, which is also but the greatest centaur that ever lived. He may have never been able to heal the wound that he had, but through his journey trying to find a way, he learned about botany, he learned about plant medicine, he learned about astrology, he learned about it. But what he did, then he also taught it to other people. And the one thing about Chiron, though, he's never giving up, never gave up, right? To um, follow through, to try to make something better. Chiron, I know it, here we talk about how it's just our wound that we'll never get rid of, but you gotta understand, Chiron can be one of the greatest strengths to know. Like if you have a marriage chart combined together, if you have a trine with a Chiron or on each other's ascendant or descendant or something like that, that's a really good sign that even through the hard times, y'all are gonna make it because Chiron
Yeah.
does not give up. Okay, I want to look at chat for a minute because this is like
Yeah, go ahead.
I just like want to pull up the transits right now. Like, okay, like where's what right now? Because I got this big overwhelming energy.
Well, yeah, and then and it goes back to like why I feel pulled to certain things. Like we all feel pulls to certain things. Ted's the only one I felt a pull to. I don't feel a pull to any. I mean, yeah, I like to work on those kind of cases, like the serial killer cases and stuff like that, but I'm not pulled to any of them to communicate. It was just him, and this is why. this is what I've been trying to explain people, like, you know, and I listen to spirit. I don't care what people say. We all know that I'm a little stubborn in that way, but it's a good thing. I'm supposed to be like that. So meditation is best way with spirit guides.
Is it? That's your best meditation? Okay.
No, well, no. She said, "How can I connect with spirit guides?" Or
Okay.
meditation. Meditation is the best way to connect with spirit guides, but they're always connecting with us anyways. Like by, you know, if you feel a certain way, like to go read a book, go watch a show, go buy something, like that's your guides. Like I had something recently. I actually listened to them. I was, I had this feeling to buy like this gum toothpaste and gum stuff, and it was almost like a foretelling of that I was going to have issues with my tooth and my gum, you know? And how would I know that was going to help? I didn't. I just bought it and I was like, okay, I'm going to follow that was my guides telling me, hey, you're going to have a problem. You need this. So it's those little kind of things. And I'll be darned if I didn't have a tooth and gum ache. And I'm thinking, oh, it's a cavity or something like that. But the gum stuff helped. I mean, I don't have a problem anymore. So it's just an example of how our guides work with us. You know, you get an idea.
Your gut instincts, you're good at following it.
Yeah. But plus, and that's our guides too. Our guides are part of our gut instincts. They send us in directions and, you know, show us what to do and stuff like that. So if you feel like you need to watch something or you feel like you need to read a book, like that's what I do. Like I kind of follow those pings that I get, kind of like you do. You get those pings, you know, telling you to do something. Spirit's probably telling you right now there's a lot bigger things for us to do, and that's why you feel it so strongly. They're being a little pushy with it. So
there's so much going on with me right now in my life. I'm doing something. We just apparently started a new business here.
Yeah.
And it's crunch time on a lot of it, and we already know I'm a new grandma.
That's why I'm forcing you to kind of stay, because I know that you're busy and I don't know if I'm going to get you back.
Well, actually, you would get me back this week, especially if we do it around the 5th, which is just in a few days. And the reason why I'm saying this too is because the 5th of May, Jupiter becomes visible. It's been underground doing some dirty work and some things like that. And it's rising, and it will be in heliacal phase starting the 5th.
Well,
which is a good time. And I'm not sure. So you've been watching the chat. Do they like this kind of YouTube?
Yeah, they love it. They want you back. They like this kind of stuff, you know. They love it. They were saying that you need to come back on. This is so interesting. They love it. So I mean, I even feel a little bit drained, honestly.
Yeah, you have to look at it too. For me, it's 2:00 in the morning here.
Yeah. Well, the only thing about the 5th is I have a reading 8 that day, and it's an hour. So we'd have to either do it earlier, and I think that, you know, going any later might, I don't know. I don't know if that
No,
works.
I'm saying anytime after that day. So that's Friday. So we can do Saturday. We can do Sunday, Monday, any of those days.
I can't do Sunday. I never can do Sunday.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up your chart over here in my little program, and then I'm going to pull a transit with it. Change place.
I mean, we could do the 5th. That's not a problem. We just have to figure out what time. That's all. Like if we have to do it earlier or later. That's it.
Oh boy, I am feeling it. It's like a hot flash.
Yeah, Hey, I was just gonna say I'm hot too.
What is it? I'm telling you, something's being pinged like big time for us.
Yeah, because I'm burning up now too. I'm freaking having a hot flash, and
but I'm not having it. But I already passed menopause.
Like no, it's not like that. It came out. It's usually how I feel whenever spirit connects to me. Yeah,
hit me.
Yeah, and I'm getting a little drained too myself, honestly. But
I don't know what that heat.
I didn't realize that I could. I'm probably feeling the energy off of it too, and not realizing it.
Oh, the moon. Okay, the moon right now. Well, one, it's at 29 degrees, very psychic degrees. So it's getting ready to change signs here real soon. Um, we got Pluto at 2, the Senate. Oh, wow. 26.
But you guys, when we do come back and do it, then that's when we're going to go into the reading part of when I connected to Ted and what it meant and all of that between the 2 times I connected and the time that we connected over Idaho 4, and then when he decided to
Completely.
leave.
The third ping of the transits of when you did that one, he totally changed and you released his spirit and he, yeah.
Well, that's what I kept seeing. Like once BK was arrested, all of a sudden it was like he had to wait for that moment for some reason. I really don't know why, but he kept showing me over and over him walking down a hall on like a tunnel, and I'd never seen anybody walk down a tunnel like that before. And I think it was just going from the light to the dark, or the dark to the light.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, because I don't remember what it was. There was something with the transits when you did, where it did show that change in that shift.
Yeah.
You know, up against his chart. It was in yours. It was crazy.
Yeah, and you know, and I've had so many people tell me, "Oh, he's tricking you. Oh, this and all that." I'm like, dude,
it can't be that because a lot of spirits involved.
yeah.
A lot of the spirit is all the spirits of God, and on the spiritual, like I said, all of these things that we can't explain, we will never have that knowledge. We can't touch it, we can't replicate it, we can't do it. Since that is where there is a connection with you guys, and also with your lot and light, these Arabic parts, these aren't planets that they're not planets, that they're not, we can't control those things. Okay, we can control planets and the energy with it, but when it comes to, like I said, north south node, a lot of spirit, a lot of force and things like that, that's not what we control. That's all a part of our zodiacal releasing in our life.
Or destiny, as one would call it, fate. But but I would tell people, I'm like, because I even had astrologers say that, you know, be judgmental about it, which was really odd. But you know, it's like if I wasn't meant to be doing it, I wouldn't be doing it. Period. That's just the way that things work. And plus, if he was tricking me, I think I would be getting not correct information instead of accurate information. He would have taken me in another direction. Usually, if I'm getting tricked, I would have been taken in a completely another direction,
Right,
and
and
I
like
wasn't.
since he's
So,
like I said, he and it was in his first house that he had that lot of spirit, right?
mhm.
Conjunct that asteroid. So that's a pure thing.
Yeah.
So you just,
And we've had this connection before, so who's to say we can't have it again? You know?
well, that's true.
Mhm.
I mean, there's going to be people out there because, like I said, everyone has their how they see everyone has their own lens that they see the world through,
Yeah. Mhm.
and a lot of them will only see the world through that one, or they gradually change and different things. But I found, like, through my studies and also through things, it's in every aspect, every job, every career, every hobby, there are going to be people that do have their preconceived judgments
Mhm.
on what they think something should be or how it is. Um, but in the case of you, someone trying to get you to stop doing it when it comes to TED and things, you have to also look at it, since you're just trying to simplify. When we cross over and it's just our spirit, it's not the physical body or ego that was here on earth, it's something different. You have to look at it. There's going to be a side that doesn't want people to even know that or realize that, because a lot of that side of energy feeds off people's fear, feeds off people egos
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff, and that's what gives them energy because they want to have a lot of it. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like video games. I guess you could kill someone and you get their power,
Yeah.
Like that. They're like video games, like energy. And that's just how life is. So there are these sides. I mean, there's always going to be every movie, everything we've ever known. As they say, dark and evil, but who's who? Who really is the bad guy? Who really is? If you really look at things, and so there's always going to be that power struggle because energy doesn't go away. Now, just hopefully, maybe we can get it more balanced instead of one side swinging so far to one side or one side to the other, back and forth.
Yeah.
But we get that a lot, and the easiest way to stop someone's energy, stop it in its tracks, is fear. When we're afraid of something, then we stop, and then that person wins because then we don't evolve. Our spirit doesn't evolve, even as we're here.
Yeah.
But that's just how I see it, of how things are. But I also took a lot of own life experiences to see, and still sometimes it is hard when you get afraid, or you're scared, or you're angry, you're upset. Then sometimes it is hard then to go after what you want.
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest fears we have is failure or people judging you.
Oh yeah, that
was my biggest fear doing this is judgment or whatever. And I didn't want judgment then to fall upon my children. I didn't want anything that I do in my life to create something negative on theirs,
Yeah, but as you know, there's always going to be those people.
Well, there is,
but we don't have a lot of those people.
It's also not fair that that they would like take it out on my kids. You know what I mean? They could like judge it. Your mom does this, so like those kind of things. But they're okay with it. They encourage me to go ahead and go out there and be public.
Yeah.
Okay. So does the chat have any questions?
Do you guys have any questions
or any comments of what they think of any of this asteroid stuff?
Any comments, questions, comments? I just think it's so interesting that he was working with me before I even realized it. Like, that's crazy. And the thing is that he was in the dark, so I keep wondering, like, how did he know? Like, I keep thinking, like, how did he know, like, our blueprint and our connection if he was still in the dark at that first, at that time? Because we know that he's shifted in energies and changed with the whole Idaho thing. Like, that was a big part of it. But I keep thinking, like, how do you know that?
Both of you have a lot of stuff that has to do with the 12th house, right? 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
Of the worlds. That was weird. Okay. Let's see. Thank you, Joyski. I'm just starting to look at the comments here. She said I'm great, and that's great.
Yeah. As I said, they want you to come back, and everybody wants us to do the whole map, like, the whole thing we talked about.
Yeah, so all I'm offering, like I said, is Horary question readings. But I also do tarot. Believe it or not, I do. But I've done that for years and years. That was always so natural to me. But I also mainly use different systems like Sibylla's more than I do tarot cards.
Mm-hmm. She does tarot cards too, though. You do tarot cards.
You can see, you can see.
She has like a lot of tarot cards. She does tarot cards. See? Yep.
I have a lot. Plus, I got some on my desk. So yeah.
By Cheyenne. Well,
okay, Lucy, when it comes to houses, 4th house, the main thing it naturally has to do with our family, our home, but also, like I said, where we come from. It can represent the father figure in a lot of charts, or the mother figure. It is ruled by the moon, which is always changing our emotions, our comfort zone. It could be like what our home life was like. But also, if you want to change up some of the energy, it also will give you clues on what type of home you should live in. If there's certain planets where you should place certain things around the kitchen. The 4th house, it's so many things to represent the kitchen. It also, if you look at it from a derived chart, though, if you look at the 4th house, if you get married, the 7th, that is actually then your marriage partner's career and what he's known out in the world and the reputation. The fourth house is your partner's career, their 10th house. Because if you count 10 houses from the seventh, it's the fourth. There's so many ways to look at a chart to see when people think, well, this planet's happened, nothing happened to me, but the area it was coming from could have then happened to like your brother's child or your brother's job or your brother's relationship or your cousin. It could have been, so it did ping. So it kind of like affects you because you know about it, or it does make a change in your family. It doesn't mean it directly hit you. So it's so much to look at in a chart.
There's that question. Can you see the questions on the screen? I'm going to do that for you.
This TED chart is made with his date of birth. How this connects between birth date and soul personality.
Shh. I'm such a brat.
I'm trying to understand the question. Can you help me with that?
She said this chart is made with his date of birth. Yes, it's made with his date of birth, his time, his place, everything. And then it says how this connects between birthday and soul personality. So I'm not really sure if she means like soul, like how the chart connects with his personality. That's the way I take it. I don't know.
Okay.
If I'm understanding that right.
Well, part of it, I do look at like the lot of spirit, the lot of fortune, but Saturn is also, and his is in the 12th house, which is part of your, Saturn is the timekeeper. Saturn is like the planet of karma, and it's kept track of all the karma that you have built up, right? But it's also can be like loss, different things. But his is also in the 12th house, which is our past. And so you kind of look at that, and his is at 8 degrees of death, dying, killings, Leo, famous, supreme being, which he was one of the supremes and well known at all the killings that he did, famous because of it in Leo. 12th house, then being in prison and put to death, all of those things with his Saturn show a part of this life's destiny for him. I hope that explained it.
Yeah, that was really good explanation. Let's see, where is... I think people are wanting to donate for the computer thing.
I don't know how much it is, to be honest.
So we'll have to figure that out and see.
I have no clue.
But the good thing is
donate. I do Cash App at Kangi Cosmos. And my PayPal is my email address. I think you put that in the description, right?
Yeah, I put whatever you gave me in the description.
Yeah, my PayPal is that just that thing, my email address.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't remember how much it cost because when I was looking into it, like I said, I don't remember. This was actually me and Rachel. I did Rachel's reading January 14th of this year. And that was 4.5 months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I've been wanting to do this live since we talked.
Yeah. Yep.
And so
that's what I'm saying. I don't want to end it because I'm worried I won't get you back.
Will get me back.
I don't want to wait 4 months. I was excited about this, and I was like, I want to go through all of it.
No, you're definitely going to get me back. That's for sure. Because right now, this week is like the perfect window.
Okay.
Next week.
So we'll just do the 5th, but we just have to figure out a time.
Up until this is the perfect window. One, because it's raining here a lot. And one of the things that we're doing is, believe it or not, I started a business, and it's a nursery customizing flower hanging baskets and planters and different things. But right now, all the seedlings and everything like that, they're doing fine. It's raining. I can't take them out. Do anything outside, so I can be inside doing this for this little window of opportunity.
But you're getting pinged on it, so you're supposed to be here. So just FYI.
I think so. Well, we have more coming up here. Let me see. Yeah. That's why I was going to look at your charts and the transit, because I think the next ping is supposed to be for you. There we go. Okay, today's the 2nd. Oh. Oh wow, we were doing this while Mercury and the Sun was at the exact same degree in Kazemi. I explained to Rachel before, when a planet gets too close to the Sun, it's called like it starts getting burnt by the Sun. But then there's a 30-minute window with the Sun where it's in the heart of the Sun with the King, where it is safe, and that is exactly where Mercury is right now, Rachel.
What does that mean?
That means our communication and all that kind of stuff, like, has the approval of the crane god and all that type of stuff, but also means Mercury then is not damaged, it's not corrupt, it's not miscommunicating, even though it's retrograde. That means it's in a very great place and getting the power of the Sun and source.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot Mercury was in retrograde right now, which I should have known.
We did it while it was Kazemi, so we're fine. See, I know what I'm doing when I pick these dates, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Even though you're impatient.
They were asking how far you were booked. And her booking link is in the description box. So.
I've got to change my booking hours because I just reactivated, but I got to change them. But for Horary, I can start doing Horary as early as next week. And tarot, I'm going to change it where it'll be 3 days a week for certain hours. And Horary questions, I will do 2 days a week starting next week. So if you guys give me a few minutes when this live is done to change the schedule, if you do want to book, you can. And
they can look up for a surgical date. Sorry, not to. You can, right? You can answer that question with the.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah,
we
okay.
can, absolutely. But sometimes what sucks about it is you find out the doctor that you have sucks, but hopefully then the surgeon will be fine, or your doctor has good intention, but your surgeon didn't. And then I will look at the 10th house of treatment to see if that surgery or if some of it's elective or whatever is actually going to help or work. But when you want to do surgeries, you definitely want to see some trines or some help from Mars and Neptune. I know say Mars is like, people don't like Mars. They just say, it's the bad guy, the danger. But Mars is actually the surgeon with their scalpel to cut you open. You want Mars to be in a good position. You want Neptune because it's medicine and healing. You want those kind of things to help pick your surgery dates. I'm sorry, I'm looking over here. So, oh, that would suck.
It's so crazy that and this is like totally off topic, but you just said something with the whole health and healing with Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing is like, I lost my conure last year, and it took me a whole year to decide if I wanted to get another one, and because I love that one so much. And I was trying to think, I found out it was a boy today, and I was trying to think of a name, and I just named it Neptune. And I think it's because I heard the name, I named it that, but it's a healing bird. You know what I mean? Because it's healing me from that loss. So I just think that's interesting that Spirit gave me that name, and then you just said it, and I was like, oh my gosh, maybe that's why I named it.
Yeah, and then and the other side of Neptune is poisoning and drugs, deceit, spies.
We want the good things.
Right. Like I said, it's also great for healing. It's also great for musicians. But also when I look at charts too, if there's some type of square to Neptune in an investigative chart, they're caught on a camera somewhere. Whether their vehicle or something, there is camera evidence if Neptune is square a certain planet. And those kind of things. If there's a trine, there is evidence, but it might not be shown. But it's just like how we saw with the Idaho 4.
Yeah.
car and those photographs and the photographs of him in the store and that kind of stuff, it did show with Neptune that it was going to be come out and come to light.
But that does mean health and healing, though, right? So, like, I named it the right name for the situation was what I was getting at. Because when you said that, I didn't realize it. So it kind of just, I'm sitting here and it just kind of clicked why Spirit gave me that name.
Oh, because there's so much energy.
I just named it the day too. So, and we're coming on here talking about it. I just think it's interesting connection. So that there's this question.
What would be the latest date that you would accept on doing
for what?
To doing the second part of this with all the TED.
Oh, I thought we were doing the 5th. We're not doing the 5th now.
Okay, we can do the 5th. But I was saying, you were saying that you had an appointment.
I have a reading. We just have to decide if we want to do it before or after. That's all. I have a reading every day, so we have to work around that.
Okay. Fifth. Let me go back here I'm going to go to the 5th.
And it's so funny because my mom does not really into animals or birds, but this bird would not leave her alone last night.
Really?
Kept flying to her. And it can't even fly yet. So did you see the question up there? I don't know if you understand it.
Okay. My first house may be someone else's 10th house. Does houses correspond with houses?
She says, what determines your houses? Like, is everyone's houses different based on their birthdays?
Yeah, you have to know your birth time because the ascendant, which is the first house, the houses change every 2 hours. And then it can even change every 20 minutes of what sign it is because you have to look at it. Like Rachel here, her ascendant is Aquarius, okay? Aquarius, they kind of really don't care what other people think because they know what they know. But they also beat to their own drum. Freedom to be who they are is very important to an Aquarian.
Yeah, that's true.
But also, they also see the bigger picture and the greater good of things. And they're also then very good at getting certain groups of people together to work together, like subgroups, that kind of thing. But it's also, like I said, the pioneers, right? Being progressive, modernizing things. So, and she's got her sun there. So that means her sun is definitely going to give that energy. So she's got like a double energy of Aquarius energy. And her sun is also at 23 degrees, which is also 11th house energy, which is ruled by Aquarius naturally. So she's got a lot of that Aquarian stuff going out there. So she's here to make a change, for sure.
Yeah, I try to.
Well, you are, but it's also... this is also a person too because it's also natally ruled by Saturn because Saturn rules 2 houses. Saturn is the structure and certain things. So it'll take them a minute. Like if they really want to get rid of someone in their life or a situation, they do think long and hard about it first. But then once they've made up their mind, they've made up their mind.
That's the truth.
It's like all of a sudden they thought about it for a long time, and all of a sudden they just decided. It was like boom, then that's it. Like it's nothing. They don't even like think about it. Don't even just go over it again. It's just the way it is. So, but this is where I get that is because of her time of birth. So let's say if I just have her chart here. My mouse is acting up, so but if I just moved it forward like 20 minutes, that's going to change the degree of her ascendant. And it might actually then change the sign where she could end up being a Pisces rising if she was born a little bit later that day. And so Pisces energy obviously is different than Aquarius energy. So that's how the houses match up. And you got to feel what planet, how does it feel being in that sign? How does it feel being in that house? How is it going to act in that house? I hope I explained your houses. And does houses correspond with houses? Yes.
Like she's saying, like her first house is in someone else's 10th house. That's what she means. So, like I think we were talking about ours, right? Isn't that similar to what we were talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with Ted's in the 10th of being out there to the public. There's also reputation, what you can be known for out in the world. Here in America, most people say that's your career and your job. That's not necessarily true. That's in the belief system is you are your job, you know. But so their 10th house and stuff like that, but that's also the peak of life too. Because it's at your heaven. It's a really important part in your chart, and it's also out in the open. So if your first house is on the 10th, depending if there's a planet or those kind of things and what sign it is, it could be if you ended up being in a relationship with this person, they had no problem, showing you to the public. But then it also could be then so much of what their reputation is or what people know them by is going to be like you. That's like someone that really puts, I love my wife is awesome, or like my girlfriend's awesome, or my friend, or kind of like that person. So much of their identity and reputation coincides with you if it's your first house kind of thing, if it's that type of chart. Like I said, it all depends on what the signs are and if there's any planets involved too. It's all very complicated.
Yes, it is. That's why I have you here, because I could never. And I took astrology, but I don't remember anything. I can't retain it.
Books recommendations for us to want to learn more. One of the simplest strategy books to learn from that I find, if you look at your chart, and she would give you this little worksheet where you put your planet to see if it's trining with something in little basic meanings that gives you like a little bit of practice, is Bernadette Brady's book, The Eagle and the Lark. Is definitely one I would recommend because it's understandable. She's very easy to understand. Yes, Heather, that's a perfect horary astrology question. I mean, this year I had a client that was looking at a certain home, and I told her she was going to find some issues and there was going to be plumbing, but it was going to show that it was fixed. She wouldn't get the house, but I told her she was going to get like the third house. So she found another. She did not get that one. Then she found another one and asked about that bid. That one, but then finally found the third one, and she wasn't sure about it, but that is the one that she got, and now she's absolutely in love with it. But that was what the horary question was. It had to do with these homes that she was looking at, but also can help to see, will you move, how it can give you a little bit of time frame of when the best window is in the horary question. Depends on whatever your question is about buying a home for the first time, Heather, but horary will answer that for sure. What do the degrees mean? Are degrees important in respect to houses or planets? To me, yes. I absolutely agree. I think it's pretty universal. 29 degrees is important in things like that across the field. They call it the anaretic degree, crisis degree, psychic degree, those kind of things. But I actually learned from this astrologer, and he just passed 2021, Nicholas Stavanovich. And he came up with the degree theories after, I don't know, 20 something, 30 something years of going over his cases and recognizing a coincidence of certain degrees and what they meant, and really put years and years and all these cases together. And then he did a class on it. And I have found when I first started Discover, I remember I emailed him, and because I had my desk facing a different way, and I was putting up a shelf. But then when I was trying to get down off the desk, because I am short, I kind of slipped, landed on something, and flipped off my desk. But then I was like, well, what the hell is the chart? Was there an accident or something like that? I pulled up my chart. It was exactly in my sixth house of office. Okay. That's not only just your daily grind, your work is also your, could be like your office area in your home. But then it was also with Pisces was involved, and there was the 18 degrees, and 18 degrees, according to him, is accidents. Well, I had an accident, right? It had to do with Pisces, which is my feet. But Pisces is also the bedroom. It was also at night. My office is in this bedroom. And the moon, where it was at, the moon pinged it. So then I stopped what I was doing. And I waited till the moon got to the next degree before I started finishing this stuff. So because it was still at the degree of accidents. So learning that, like I said, is through Nikola Stavanovich. I think you might be able to get his book. It's kind of hard because now his wife just passed. So there's just his daughter. And I know she was trying to keep his website up to date. And the publishing, because it was his wife's publishing house, because he was in Serbia. Being able to get it, I'm not sure. You might be able to find a way, but there is, for the simple parts of it, on Astrologer. I don't know if you guys heard. She's has an astrology channel and has a lot of other astrologers come on. On her website, there is where you could purchase, and he did do a webinar on the degrees, and you can purchase it from her website, and you can study it at your own pace of him going pretty much over the degrees in some of them. He'll go through over all the houses, signs, and what degree numbers coincide with which sign.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because you were saying that we had some of the same degrees, right? So
yeah, I discovered and I learned it. It was all so true. Like even my daughter called me one time and she cut her finger and says, "Well, this is happening at pinged your Mercury here." Exactly, the degrees described the situation that happened.
Yeah,
it was. I mean, I love it, and I found it to be so accurate. If two people are a lot alike, is that because their houses line up? I wouldn't know if it'd be about their houses. I mean, firstly, it'd have to be with planets and houses. Because your planets, each describe different parts of our personality, our taste, what we like, what we don't like, how we act in a certain way, and our moon, what we're comfortable with. Mercury, what we think about, what we talk about. Probably a lot more to do with your planets, how they ping together. Okay, any more? Let's see. Sherry, you're so right. Astrology is. I finally found something that I will never stop learning and discovering, so I'll never be bored with astrology.
It's so complex. Like it takes obviously it's probably in your chart somewhere that you're supposed to do this. Or
hold on.
Right?
I'm trying to get the spelling of his last name for Deborah here.
Okay.
It's the right one. Nope. Hang on here real quick. I'm gonna grab it. Okay. Okay. It is. I hold this up. I wonder if you guys can.
I can type it if you just tell me how to spell it.
Let me see. Hold on. I don't know how well this camera is. Oh, it's because There.
I hope I spelled that right.
Nicola, STOJANOVIC.
Yep.
Like I said, it's the degree fair. The Secrets to Exact Astrology is that book. Then he also had another book that he had out, which was all case studies, which then taught you how to practice and learn it. So these were my copies. What a great man. And he was kind of like us. He didn't like judge people. It's like, okay, well, this person, no, he can be a jerk. He'll lie to you what he wants, but that's just the way it is. What are you going to do? You know, that's how it is. He's so cool.
It makes me wonder if he ever pulled his like chart and found out anything about, you know.
He's got in some of his case studies, he's got Hitler. He's got actually Nicola. He used to actually be an astrologist for a lot of big presidents, politicians, big wigs, that kind of stuff, and even had a client every year that he would do a solar return chart so this person could keep evading the law. He managed to evade the law for 20 years, but now Nicola's dead, so I don't know what's happened to him. But, you know, gave him clues how he could like hide, escape, what country he should be in at that time, and, you know, all kinds of stuff.
But it makes me wonder if he didn't pull his own chart and read his own chart.
Yeah. He was trying to do some remedies, but normally a lot of his remedies really helped if on the day of your birthday or when you're going to have your solar return, if you go to another location, like go on vacation somewhere, that will change your solar return chart, some of the energy. During the time that it is when all the borders were closed because it was around all the COVID issue and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he couldn't.
Well, that's interesting to know. I didn't think about that.
Is that what our houses are? Attributes.
She's asking if our houses are our attributes.
Okay. Houses are areas of life. Okay. That's just an area of life. Your second house is your worth, what you eat. It's the earth. It's like what you consume. It also represents like your throat. So what you consume food wise, but they say it's your bank account. But I also find it's what we spend our money on because it's our possessions and things. Third house, siblings, neighborhood, travel, learning, teaching. It's brothers, sisters. Like I said, it's more like your local neighborhood. It's also driving, can be your cars because it's ruled by Mercury. Fourth house is more about your homeland, your home country, your actual house, home. Fifth house is the things that you just do because you enjoy it, pleasures. It's also gambling. It's the house of sport because sport is mostly for pleasure, competitions, parks, but also can rule. It's the ambassadors of the world, the ones that help, like our ambassadors, which is also part of like our police systems. Sixth house, they say it's health, but it's also service. They could be offering a service. This is, you look at the sixth house, if you're looking for a repairman, you want to see if the repairman is going to do a good job or they're going to rip you off. Are they skilled and knowledgeable? You want to look at the sixth house when you pull a chart for that kind of stuff because you want to make sure they do a good job because you're hiring them to do something. Even if you see Pluto and stuff like that in a natal chart, that could be a sex worker, but that's just a part of their chart. You know, different things. The seventh house, like I said, it's partnerships, marriages, but it's basically it's binding contracts. Okay. The fifth house has to do with love and our pleasures, you know, sex for pleasure because we enjoy it. The seventh house would be more like contractual marital bed, but it is your marriage, but it is also politics. It is also out in the open, other people you openly know. And like I said, since it's Libra and Libra is our justice system in the scales, it has to do with that. So the houses is areas of life. The planets in it are the attributes. But also if your second house, like here for Rachel, hers is in Pisces at 27 degrees. So that means all of her second house stuff would have those kind of themes, but then it would also have a Jupiter theme because Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. 27 degrees has to do with the communication, teaching, learning. Um, has to do with it because it's 27, which is a third house degree. And then I go look at the Jupiter and where the Jupiter's energy is, what degrees, that all will tell a whole story that has to do with her second house.
I spend all my money on animals. It's probably right there.
Well, you probably spend a lot of your money on your animals' vet care.
Yeah, that was recently, yes.
Because
it hasn't been like that for years.
It is the hospital.
Yeah. That just happened this year, actually, where I had a bunch at once. But for years, I didn't have an issue. So, yeah, but that's about right. Yep.
But a lot of your possession that you do too is the stuff that you like and that you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is, because it's ruled by Jupiter up in the 9th house. Belief systems, and you will invest and you'll spend money on getting the word out there or to gain more knowledge. You spend your money on those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Because your Jupiter's up there in the 9th, but it's at 10 degrees. But you also will do it too, which will also benefit your career. You will invest in your career and who you're going to be out in the world and where you're going to make your mark. You will actually spend the money to invest in that kind of stuff.
Makes sense. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I did explain that. What I meant by most astrologers now are just really getting into asteroids. Most of them will do the main asteroids, but not all these other asteroids. There's like in a database over 43,000 asteroids. So what I did was I was fascinated with asteroids and started learning them and seeing where they were in people's charts. And then most astrologers, of course, they learn the planets first. What sextiles, trines are, what houses are, what rules what. Most start with planets, and then a lot will start then looking into the fixed stars, because the fixed stars can be very powerful if they ping somewhere in your chart. Like in, let's see, I'm trying to say if there's anyone that would know, like Rachel, within 1 degree of 29 minutes, her Saturn is on Spica, which is a very powerful fixed star. So most people then will look at fixed stars, and then some will start doing some of the asteroids, but they mainly do like Sirius, Pallas Athena, Vesta. I don't know if you guys have heard of those, but those are like the main ones people do. I delved in, I learned asteroids first, then fixed stars, then I actually learned about your actual birth chart and houses. That's what I did. So that was completely backwards.
And what's crazy too is whenever we did I think it was the third reading with Ted, wasn't the Brian asteroid in there?
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy. So we'll go into more of that whenever we do our other live.
There's an asteroid called Brian.
Yeah.
There's an asteroid called Kaylee. There's an asteroid called Dylan. There's asteroids with lots of names in them that you can actually then put into a chart and see if it has a connection.
Well, yeah, and then we noticed that the Delphi one in Quentin, but it's a different form of Quentin is all in there as well.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, you got Delphi with your vertex there, and when you did that first reading I wonder if your chart was being pinged. I'm really curious to know now. When you actually got the name.
When I did the Delphi, it was May. Yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah.
Maybe add that to our next one. But yeah, I'm curious if that's when I got the name if he was in it.
Yeah.
If he was involved in that.
Know if any of those pings were in the charts. And what was his name?
Rick Allen.
Allen?
Yeah. Yeah. Tammy said, "Do I show up in her chart?"
Okay. Oh, my problem is my mouse is not working. Okay. Oh, never mind. Murphy's with the sun right now, so it's going to be a little technological energy difference here. I'm just going to. It's not the right one. I'm going to try to plug my mouse in to see if that helps, but I'm going to. I can look here. Real quick. No. Nope, that's not it either. Well, that's it. But okay, so let me write this down too. So we're gonna look. You're gonna text me later the date and time that you got the name, that reading.
Shoot.
Okay.
I don't know about the time. Well,
Whenever
because I
you
did it.
started that, the live or whenever you did the
I
channel.
did the live, yeah. Or
Okay.
yeah, it was a live.
Yeah. So I'll just need to know the date and time of your location when you did that. Then I'll put it up against your chart, and then we're also gonna look to see if and see if Alan, if there's an asteroid Alan or Rick or Richard and stuff like that, to see where that was for that day. And then we'll even like to see if there's an asteroid that has to do with Tammy or something, to see if she shows up in your chart. But I'm sure if I put your two charts together, there's going to be some connections.
Yeah, probably, huh?
Mm-hmm.
There has to be.
Oh, absolutely. Come on. That's like a no-brainer, Tammy. Come on, girl. Okay,
Tammy says I'm looking it up. I don't know what she's looking up. Oh, May 11th was the reading.
oh, I love
Do you know
her.
the
I'm like, I
time?
need a Tammy in my life. That's what I
I
need.
know, right?
Yes.
Tammy and Lizzie's. Uh, do you know the time, Tammy?
May what?
May 11th
What year?
last year, 2022.
2022.
Which is interesting because weren't all my TED Talks 2022? They
Yeah,
were.
they absolutely were.
Yeah, they absolutely were.
I know, it's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got a time yet, Tammy, or do I need to go look? I need to know the time that we did it. It should show up on YouTube, right? If not, then I don't know.
It might show up on your end. Because I remember YouTube used to be so good about putting dates of videos and stuff, like even when you go to watch them. And now, this is like a year ago, it says whatever. It's so hard for me to get good information.
Let me see if we playlist. T Tammy was like, "You need to make a playlist," and then I did, so it makes things a lot easier for each of the cases. Let's see.
Okay, well, you look at that. I'm going to go to the bathroom again. I think.
Where the heck is my Delphi playlist? See who comes up with it first.
This StreamYard is really weird on my mouse.
There it is. I went past it like 3 times. Was this live? It was. It was. It doesn't give a time, girl. Just says May 11th, 2022, but I did it live, so I can't. I don't know. I'm trying to see if there's there's a transcript, but it just gives me like, and she's gone. I'm talking to myself. Yep. I don't remember when I did it. Let me see about. Well, crap. Go to my back office? You mean the YouTube studio? I didn't even know she was gone, you guys. Seriously. I'm freaking tired, though. Do you have to say? I do feel drained. Let's see. Content. What am I doing? Good Lord. I need playlists. And Idaho, Dylan, Delphi. How come it says May 12th on here? Oh, she did drop off completely. Huh. Okay, well, it says May 12th on here, not May 11th on my back office, which is weird. Which is making me think that... I don't know. Yeah. Well, she dropped off. I think she's going to try to come back on. I don't know. But it doesn't say... There she is. Okay. So we must... Okay, so I cannot find a time. So my back office says May 12th, but YouTube says May 11th. But I think we did it like around midnight. And that's why I'm getting 2 different days.
Okay.
But there's no time on YouTube. Like, it doesn't tell you that I can find anyways.
You might only be able to like look in studio and will it show the data than the upload of the...
Nope, I'm in the studio now.
Okay.
Looking for some kind of time. Heather, you found the time? Where'd you find it at? Yeah, but that I need the time of like that's like the time of the video. That's not the time of day. So it wouldn't be minutes. It would be like...
Oh, I see the video of where she says that one.
Yeah, it's weird because on YouTube,
Alan 122 Mark says brick.
Yeah, but I don't know what time it was. But it had to be around midnight because like when you go on YouTube it says May 11th, but then when you go on the studio it says May 12th.
Yeah, so the May 11th though is from YouTube headquarters time zone, and the 12th is your time zone. So which, like you said, would be around midnight.
Does that mean YouTube's in California?
I don't know where YouTube headquarters are.
It's got to be because I'm an hour ahead of California.
I don't know.
So it must have been May 12th.
I have no idea.
What's odd is because I contacted Ted on the 4th for the second time.
It was, I remember. Okay. Gonna have to put times on our videos.
So I was already
definitely put times on your videos because I can tell you when Rachel was having me try to look up some crime charts and was trying to find information of the exact time someone called the police, because I can use that time in a chart. Or if we have an exact time of a CCT footage that they're caught on camera somewhere, or the exact time, for sure someone sent their last text that you knew that they were alive. You need the exact times, and a lot of times the newspapers don't report the time that was called, or actually what city. It'll just say, oh, in Rotten County. I'm like, well, I don't know where the hell that is. But yeah, putting the time on everything you do will makes things easier than astrology than to look up events and situations.
Well, I freaking thought that I thought that it would show the time. But I might talk about it in the video. I'd have to watch it and see. Because I might actually say something about it. But so that means that I did it May 12th, basically, because we're going off my time, right? So it would be May 12th then. Because if they're an hour behind. So,
okay, yeah.
But I find that interesting because I talked to Ted in April. What was it? April. It was actually Hitler's birthday. Which
I
is
know
weird.
when we looked
So
at
weird.
those.
But that was I talked to him 420.
Yeah,
the first time,
the form, though.
and then I talked to him the second time May 4th, and then I did Delphi May 12th. So it would make sense as maybe he decided to stick his nose in and help without me asking.
Yeah, because like I said, there was a ping there, which then means it was time. I can't remember. Well, we also remember during last year, especially, we have one more coming up or two more. All the eclipses, you got to look at the timing too. All the eclipses were on the Scorpio Taurus axis.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, Ted has got a lot of his planets in Scorpio. Remember, your Jupiter at the 10 degrees of Scorpio is his Uranus at the 10 degrees of Scorpio. And April 29th to 30th, depending on where you lived, we had an eclipse at 10 degrees Taurus, which opposed and pinged 10 degrees of Scorpio. So it activated that.
I just think it's crazy that he was helping without me knowing, but I had already communicated with him.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't see that before.
I wonder, but I can't get this mouse to work. All of a sudden, my technology's gone crazy. It's like now I want
Mercury retrograde.
Well, no, but like I said, it's also like in the heart of the set, so it's very strong energy. We do have an eclipse coming up. I think it's is it the 5th? Shit, is the eclipse the 5th? I think it's the 5th. I'm pretty sure it is. But it's like I my mouse is messing up, and I want to get over here. You know what I want to do? I want to put your name in Ted's chart.
I can't even see you. Did you mean to not turn on your camera?
Yeah, just for a second here.
Okay.
So
I didn't know if you were doing that on purpose or
so
not.
I do want to put your name in Ted's birth chart.
Oh, we're gonna see if I'm an asteroid?
Yeah. Now I feel like we're like on the phone, just you and me, when all of a sudden with all these things. And I started pulling up all these charts. I'm telling you guys, we were on the phone, or I talked into my Zoom.
The sun came up.
Oh, for hours and hours and hours. We went over so much stuff, and I was
it was so cool though.
Let's go look. Yeah. Let's go look.
You see how interesting it is? We were like, let's do this reading and see where we were at. Let's do this reading and see where we were at.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, it makes sense. That's why.
But the one thing I do remember from the very first time we talked is you said it made like the Star of David or something like that.
Yeah, there was a certain thing on one of those days when combining the two, it made that. Yeah. But remember, your South Node is at that 22 degrees of Capricorn. And remember, it's the chosen one, the right-hand man.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, and how they describe in ancient text, it is, because where it is, it's in the elbow. If you actually look at the stars of Sagittarius, even though in our chart it's Capricorn, right?
Yeah.
But where it actually is when we look in the sky. But that position there is like if a king or anybody, that they're one go-to person that they trust, who is in the highest rank of military, though, that is to defend or that they choose. And like this is kind of like the right hand of God or the right hand of the king and stuff like that. That is the 22 degrees of Capricorn where your South Node is. But that's where my Mars is. So I have a weapon with mine.
So does that mean that's like my right hand person to go to about things? Because
no, you came in with this. So like I said, that's so a lot of your purpose here is really when you say, like explaining the spiritual world and past and people's karma, because you're the 12th house and stuff like that. You came in with this knowledge. So you naturally, that's why when to you, how you see the spirit world, right? And that's not who they are. No, it's not a big deal to you. Like I said, to you, it's just common sense. It's just because
Right.
you already just naturally know this. You're born with that knowledge. But other people aren't born with it. And that's why you get surprised that people just don't understand it.
Surprised and
To you,
frustrated.
it's like, this is my right hand. This is my left hand. To you, it's just like the way it is because it
Yeah.
comes in with you. But these are all, everything that came in with you is all tools for you to be able to utilize and expand on to get you to whatever your purpose is here.
Makes sense.
So if you're there on the right hand, that means you're the emissary for this kind of stuff. So it's just the way it is. Oh, I just saw that.
Yeah.
It's not odd, Tammy.
Well, like I always tell that story. Like I had a freaking yellow bug. Like the way it came about, it was kind of weird, but it was like a couple years before me and Ted had our little connection thing, and I used to see that thing flash back to the one he used to have. It was weird, but it quit. Then it quit working, and I couldn't afford to
no
fix it.
results, Tammy, because I can't get my mouse to go over there to her chart in my program without it being plugged in. And it's just this little short one. Let me see if it'll let me now. Maybe. Let me find this is so let me go to Ted. Oh, it's letting me. I just needed a little more charge. Okay. Let's see if there is an asteroid of Rachel. Oh wait, let me go ahead and turn my camera back on. So I'm over
You're
here.
back.
Let me see if I see no, the mouse wants to die. Maybe I need a new one.
She said, "Get spanking that mouse."
It was such a cheap one. I need to buy another one. I'm sure it's been acting up lately. All right, so I'm going to see if it will let me share how I'm doing this. So you guys can see. So I want the window. I want this one. Nope.
The present
Nope.
one.
I want this
Present one. I mean,
I hit share. Is it gonna let me?
yeah,
It's
it's coming up, but yeah,
okay. What do you see?
a blank screen. I mean, it's just white.
Huh.
Yeah, I'll show you. Will it let me do it?
Oh, it is still white.
It's
Why?
not showing. It's not showing at all in there. How weird. Damn Mercury
Let me
retrograde.
stop that screen sharing. Let me try again. I know it's crazy now, but that you got to understand with it being in the heart of the sun right now. Now it's probably like right in there. That's some very strong mercurial energy.
Well, I freaked out yesterday because I had to go to Tucson, right? My car was fine on the way to Tucson. I got gas, like $10 in gas at the Chevron because it was more expensive in Tucson. So I said, I'll just get $10 here and get the rest when I get to where we're going because it's cheaper. My car started acting funky. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with my car? And I'm like, darn Mercury retrograde. And it started like revving and like just being weird, not wanting to go, having no power.
Mm-hmm.
So we pulled over to Dollar General. I was like, oh, let me check and see if I have oil. I have oil. Everything looks fine. I go over and get more gas because I was almost out at that time, but I still had gas. I still had like a dot. So I wasn't running out of gas. I put more gas in, then my car was fine. I think I got bad gas at the Chevron because it was fine until yeah. So it was fine until I got that gas, And then once it kind of went almost away and I added more gas, then my car was fine. It was the weirdest thing, but I was like, Mercury retrograde, screw you.
Oh, I wish I had a longer. I don't know where. I had a longer cord to keep my mouse plugged in. Right now, I just got the short one because that seems to be working. Wait, nope, that's not it. I'm trying to. If it lets me right there. Oh, it's going awful slow. I just want to. Oh, I wonder
One
where
of
his
those
values is.
battery ones.
What's a rechargeable? But it's just messing up. All right, let's see if there is an asteroid.
You're funny tonight, Kimmy.
Right? Let's see if you are here. There is an asteroid called Rachel.
I mean, my name's Rochelle, but everybody calls me Rachel, so might as well be
Okay,
Rachel.
Rochelle. Okay, but it's close, almost exactly your spelling.
Everybody calls me that anyways. It really doesn't matter.
Number
I was supposed to be Rachel.
7-4. Let's see where you show up in his chart. Let's see. Would I like this asteroid? Oh, this is really messing up bad. Okay, let's see. Where are you?
Darn Mercury. Didn't we find a Theodore in mine though?
You are at, in his chart, you are at 25 degrees of Sagittarius.
What does that mean?
I don't know yet. I don't know where your chart is. But it is within 1 degree of Black Moon Lilith. Which, you know, the Black Moon Lilith, stuff like that, sometimes that can be, like a lot of hedonistic things. And his went out of control with Sagittarius. But let's see, 25 degrees. So, nope, that's partile. Where would that be in your chart? $25 Sag. But it's in the 5th house. And so, like, the 5th house is, like, definitely the things that he enjoys. He does get a lot of pleasure out of it. And this is, you know what I mean, things that he's really passionate about. But it's at the 25 degrees of communicating in the 3rd house. Gosh, that's a lot of Sagittarius, dude.
Was it?
I know so many people always want to say that Ted Bundy is a Scorpio, but he's not. Like, well, he's got a lot of planets in Scorpio. A lot of people have a lot of planets in Scorpio. He's a Sagittarius. He's got his sun, his south node, Mars, and the moon. He's got a stellium.
I know. I was gonna say, isn't he like on the cusp or something like that?
No, because he's 2 degrees, so he's made it past the 0 and 1 degrees. So he's a true Sag. No, I don't remember your chart, but let's just see. I think there was a
Theodore in there.
Let me just go. Okay.
So basically, my name is in his chart. Or my.
Well, if I put in, since Rachel's an asteroid, it'd be in every chart somewhere. But the thing is, a degree, and does it connect somewhere?
Well, I meant like at a degree as to where it is. So it's in under the communication.
It has to do with communication at the 25 degrees, yes, but it's also coming through the 5th house, right? Of things that you enjoy, pleasure, right? Remember, also, I told you the 5th house is also the house of ambassadors, which is the liaison, the bridge between two things, what's what ambassadors are. So it's in that house. So you're like the ambassador of what these Sagittarian messages are to come across.
Okay.
Okay, so the ambassadors, like, you go to one side and say, and, you know, talk about this, then you go back over to the other side to try to bring the two sides together. That's an ambassador. So you're the representative of those things to him. Okay, Heather, if you're in America and wherever you were born, your state vital records or whatever town and city vital records that you were in, you can get your birth certificate. But I do know they've changed some things because I went ahead and got copies for my brother, my nephew, my daughter, and my son a couple of years ago because now a lot want to have that gold state seal on it to be as proof of identification. And it's the long form that has your birth time. Otherwise, it's just like a simple birth certificate saying who your parents are and where you were born. If your state will give out the long form, that's the one you want to request. If they don't, what I had to do here was tell them I needed the time of their birth. So they stamped it on the back of the birth certificate that they gave me. So you might have to do that, but you can get it from the vital records from where you were born. Some of it is really good where you can get it online. But either way, you can get it from the state's vital records for your time of birth. If you were born here in America, you can do that. That's the easiest way. Okay, so at least you have your birth certificate, so you know you have one. So you'd have to, ask them for Las Vegas for the long form. Like I said, usually just go to your health vital records from where you were born, or call them and ask them how to get it because you want your time of birth. I'm always scared to find out things. Oh, Tammy, stop. She's scared to find out things, but she's like the biggest researcher out there.
I know.
Into stuff. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Wait, stop. Yeah. The whole time she's like leading the pack, driving in there. I was always big into numbers in the lottery. She always played my time of birth. That's how I know it. Oh, okay. That's cool.
My mom just made me remember mine, and I remember my son's. But I see mine all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not about me. Oh, no, it's never about you, Tammy. No, You have so much going on in your life, honey. You need to take some days where it's all about you.
That's what I tell her all the time.
Yes, you do.
Her time is our time. Basically, her only break is when we're working on cases. So
right, okay, good. I get that because I love.
But she doesn't like that I know when she's doing things or certain
when
things.
we're pulling up, you'd mention a date or mention a case. I'd be looking, and we even trying to find newspaper articles to find times, and I was pulling charts. I really enjoy, and we just on the spur of the moment, just let's look. I love finding the time to do that. I absolutely love it. And like you're like we've been talking for hours already, no matter what you say, and we do that night, and I can,
yeah. It's so interesting. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there is a Theodore.
Yeah, there's one. It's a Theodore
asteroid.
It's a Theodore something asteroid, but that's the closest. Let me see if it'll bring it back up because I thought I pulled it up. I think. Let me see. Okay, I can't believe you can't see it on your screen now.
No, it's just white.
I know. So I'm going to customize.
So basically, you're saying that where my asteroid is in his chart, that's about us communicating and him being
Rachel, like I said, he had Rachel at 25 degrees of Sag. That is within 1 degree of your Neptune. And also, it's in your 11th house, which is friends and friendships. And like I said, but it's within the Neptune. Remember, the Neptune is also dissolving things, finding the truth. Because it's also a 12, Neptune is the co-ruler of the 12th house, and that's where Rachel is, where you guys connect there. It also then sextiles your Pluto, and wow, Rachel in your chart is 1 degree from your South Node in the 12th house. That's crazy.
What does that mean? Layman's terms.
Honey, you came from the other world for sure. You're here. for this whole, like I said, otherworldly, like I said, gateway dimensional stuff. You have it going on. Okay, now let's see if it'll let me. This is, I'm sorry, you guys take so long with whatever Mercury's doing. Me. I click a button, I have to wait. Let me see if I can find. We're doing Theodore.
How kind of thing?
There's an asteroid called Ted Bunch. So
That's weird.
Let's just see if this does anything. Oh, it's at 20 degrees in your third house. Huh. Because it's communicating. 20 degrees has to do with death, dying. That degree, the occult, communicating it. It trines your south node. It trines you. That's interesting. And then there's one called Theodora, because his name is Theodore.
Yeah. And that's why I don't think people understood when Kaylee's sister named her daughter Theodora.
Mm-hmm.
It clicked with me, but a lot of people I don't think realized it.
Wait, who did what?
Kaylee's sister named her baby Theodora.
What? Really?
Yeah, I don't think I don't think anybody knew or realized, except for me, because, I know that's a female version of Theodore.
In your chart, that is at 11 degrees of Libra retrograde. No, that is super interesting.
Yeah, it was just odd.
But I do know in your chart, the asteroids Ted and Rachel trine, which is a harmonious aspect. It just flows naturally back and forth.
Huh. How interesting. I know, I think one time you're like, are you sure you weren't married in another life?
Yeah, you know what? Some of it, like I said, someone thinks he's your partner or whatever, but yeah, there's so much like kind of like clues to that, and it's like, okay. Okay, we could do this like for hours, so I'm stopping.
Oh.
Because I'll go down a rabbit hole in a heartbeat. I just realized, like, we're still live. This is going to be like on your channel, all this bullshitting.
Oh, who cares? People like it.
Oh, I was going to do Tammy, though. See, but there was a...
Oh.
Hold on. I'm not going to leave you hanging, Tammy. I'm going to see if I can find an asteroid for you in Rachel's chart. Okay.
She said, know what it means, Ted and Rochelle. It means that we are harmonious communicators, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because where it trines from is the communication. Third house is where the Ted was. Trining Rachel in the 12th house through the veil, through the mysteries. Rachel's at 21 degrees. Ted was at 20 degrees. So there's also in the signs of Earth an earthly trine, which means then bringing it to the physical world, the communicating of it. All right. Let's see. I want to.
So basically means that we communicate through the veil, but it's a harmonious communication.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what it means, Tam.
Yeah, because it's a trine. Let's see.
And then when we do the live on the 5th, we'll go into.
There is an asteroid called Tammy.
There's an asteroid called Tammy.
It's number 3,403. Let's see. Okay. You scared?
It depends on what house and what degree it's in, Deborah. The asteroids are in people's charts, but it just depends, right?
Yeah,
The
not all
degree and
astrologers use degrees, but I do because it gives a more bigger picture.
no, but she was saying, but if there's so many aerobics, wouldn't everyone have one in their name? Asteroids, and we talked about. I think she's saying, is there always an asteroid named after someone?
No, because
But
there's an asteroid. I mean, I used to when I would look at when people wanted to know about someone that they were dating. If I could find an asteroid with that person's name of it, I put it in that person's birth chart. But I'd also put this asteroid called Lie. If asteroid Lie and this person's name was really close together, then in your birth chart, I would say run the fuck away. Because yeah, that person will. So Tammy, you're in Rochelle's intercepted house. You in her second house intercepted, which opposes her Mars in Libra in the 8th house. So that is a polarity that is going on. And since it's intercepted, it's like you don't even realize that you don't even have to physically do anything, but then it pushes her Mars, especially when it comes to seeing degrees of accidents, killings, weapons, death, getting justice, and those kind of things. You're on that opposite end. So that is like, I can see why you need Tammy sometimes that for that grounding and that back and forth, because like a ping pong on the back and forth, the opposite ends, because that is where she is. But since she's also at the Aries, that's also giving you a push. And that would also means Tammy, though, being at 18 degrees, that's like your the 6th house, when you look at a person's chart, can show military service type things. But Aries with Mars naturally is like a soldier's, and hers is at 18 degrees of military service. So it's also kind of at the same time, she's like your soldier in helping and do this. It's weird.
makes sense.
So I kind of wouldn't mess with Tammy when it comes to you. So
And vice versa.
oh, sweet,
We
quiet.
both get a little protective over that.
I don't know
You know?
if I would.
Tammy, you're a soldier.
Like I said, since it's intercepted, it's on that other side. So she's coming to like also be part of your protection and your soldiering and stuff like that, but also gives you that push and that energy back, because it's intercepted, it's behind the scenes. It's not an active energy. It's just naturally a part of her spirit that is doing it. And not even her where she has to physically push herself to do it. It's just natural of why then you guys could ping off of each other.
So that makes sense. Why I do better readings with her?
Mm-hmm.
Something with her energy or something.
Mm-hmm.
Lizzie's like, where do I fit in?
But then also because of it, it's then really helped you.
Yeah.
Like I said, with your self-worth, because it gives you validation. Then that helps you to keep receiving the messages, right?
Yeah.
But also her doing it has helped to streamline you then to really take this further to earn a living and an income with it. Okay, so that really helps on that sense, because then it keeps you, you know what I mean? Because you need that pinging energy to do what you do, because it's a part of your purpose, period. And yeah, that's been my goal. Oh my goodness. What's been your goal, Tammy?
Helping me make it doing this. That's she's the one that started pushing me last year around the Delphi thing. Actually, it was around that time in May. It seems like a lot of stuff happened in May that.
So what's really cool though? It's in Aries, right?
Well, she's an Aries.
Oh, is she?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's why you don't mess with her.
I will. But Aries depositor is Mars, right? Because Mars rules Aries. But you look at it though, since the Mars then will look after Tammy. You know what I mean? Whoever owns the house that's going to be in the best interest of whatever planets or whatever's there. But look what it's doing. What did I say? Tammy's opposite your Mars at 18 degrees. So then it's kind of like juxtaposed. At the same time, then you're making sure that her helping you is then also protective. You're like a tag team.
Yeah.
With all this warrior energy. All behind the scenes in this other world because it's in an intercepted sign. Because none of the Aries or Libra doesn't rule any house of yours. And what I mean by it's intercepted, usually, there's 12 signs that rule 12 houses. You have an intercepted chart where your second house is ruled by Pisces, your third house is by Taurus. Well, there's Aries in between that, so it doesn't rule anything. So this is all a whole dimension of stuff.
So basically, you're saying that this was fated for.
I don't know. It's the same as your Mars. You're her depositor.
What does that mean?
Like I said, you look out for her.
Oh yeah.
Kind of thing. But at the same time, she's the soldier at the Aries energy at the 18 degrees of military. So
it's just so weird. You're calling her a soldier. I just keep seeing her dressed like a soldier.
I mean, that's the best way to describe it. But also, she's the one. But Aries also will push you, right? Like just do it, right?
She does. She worked my butt off last year. She was like, "All right."
To make you take action is Mars and Aries. Without it, we wouldn't have anything.
Mm-hmm. She's always pushing me. She kind of cut back a little bit because she understands the drain now, But before she was like, okay, every night she was like, okay, let's do this case. Like every night. I'm like, Tammy,
right?
I'm dying here.
Some of what we were doing because the energy got overwhelming, and it's a lot. At the same time, I have a grand water trine, which is why I can do tarot and pendulum, but that's just naturally born into me.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of stuff. But like you said, at the same time, it can be when you get to certain energies, can be so draining.
Mm-hmm.
When you get into some people's charts, and and Ted has a very strong chart, and then commingle with you, and since it all had to do with things that didn't have to do with planets too, was even beyond the beyond. That's pulling a very huge, I guess, like vortex like energy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you guys were pirate partners in past lives. Hey, it could be the second house. Tammy's stealing it. It's on the water. It's in, Pisces is Rachel's second house. But then there's Rachel there in Aries. That would be funny.
Hey, who knows? It's just crazy that you're saying that mine and Ted's chart puts up that much energy. Because I think I was feeling the drain here too, and I'm not even an astrologer. But it's like the power of those two together. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy.
And that could a lot have to do with the Mercury. Like the Mercury with the end, it really intensified things. And there was something of Ted's that had to be. It was on my Mercury, I think, right, and stuff like that. And no, your Jupiter is on my Mercury. So your Jupiter, which is expands things. Your Jupiter then expands my mercurial energy, which is my thoughts, my thinking, my calculating, my speaking. And it's electricity. It's actually feeling the waves, the energetic waves. Your Jupiter amplifies my Mercury. So it's kind of like getting a huge surge of.
So I'm surging you over there.
Yeah, you do. That has a lot to do with it. But also, Jupiter, though, since it's on my Mercury, you want to find people around you and find out where their Jupiter is. Where their Jupiter is and where it lands on your chart, and if it comes with the thing, that is an area that this person is going to bring you blessings in and help in better things. So Rachel being on my butt for the past 4 months to do this, it's probably for my own good, but also to communicate and probably get used to being on a YouTube, bringing the information out because it is Mercury. And it is, my Mercury is right on the cusp of my seventh house, which is then being in partnership together. So I'm sure we will partner together and do more collaborations because that is then a part of our chart together.
Yeah. If you get your butt working, our collaborations need to come before your gardening. No, I'm just kidding.
I have right now 5,000 flower plants out there. My babies, 5,000. Okay.
I'm just giving you a hard time because
I'm
just giving you a hard time because I just feel like collaborating with the readings and the charts in the way that you do them would be really validating for one, and for two, put that much even more information. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to location. You know.
Well, yeah, and plus these kind of things, like I said, I mean, there's so many astrologers out there. There's so many astrologers on YouTube, but I know I do a lot of this.
You do it differently.
I do, but that's because of my Uranus, which is a pioneer, which has taken all this other, knowledge, that Aquarius energy. I have that. It's also within a couple degrees of my Pluto, which is then digging deep. It's also massive knowledge. Trining up there with my Mars of higher beliefs and systems. But then with my Uranus and Sun, it makes a yod, a finger of God in my chart, to my North Node. So it's really uncomfortable energy for me, but it is. But then my North Node is in Aries, which is to be a pioneer, to go ahead and take action to it, to bring the combination of all this ancient knowledge together is, to me, it's so natural. It's easy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, because sometimes we're born with these gifts, and so you can see things in charts that others can't, and it comes naturally to you. It's almost like it pops out.
Yeah, a lot does pop out at first.
Yeah. That it wouldn't normally, like, I'm looking at it, even if I studied it, I probably wouldn't pop out because I don't have the same gifts as you. You know what I mean? So it's a gift for you to be able to see certain things in the chart.
Yeah, when I got into really learning and studying, I probably studied between 13 to 17 hours a day.
It's a lot.
2.5 years straight with teachers, astrology teachers. Like I said, I had astrology teachers from like Bulgaria, Australia, Serbia, different ones that we don't hear about here. Thank God for YouTube, because now more people can come together from parts of the world and bring like this kind of knowledge. But it's just, I did it. It was a lot of work. It's also a lot of money taking these courses.
It's a lot. I mean, just the little astrology I took was tough, and I don't remember any of it now. If you don't use it, you lose it. I don't remember anything I learned.
I have 4 different astrology programs. Software that I use, which that costs a pretty penny, like those things. But in the end, this is the end result, because, like I said, it's just so cool seeing the correlations.
Yeah. I know, that's why I said, because like I said, I always had this like pull or something towards him, not any other people that had his same or similar past, but just him. And I couldn't figure out why, but now we know. Now the astrology is there. It explains the whole connection and everything, and why we do what we do. And that's why I felt like it was so important to do something like this, to try to show people, okay, I'm not just telling you this. Here's the proof, and the proof is in the pudding. Like, here's our astrology charts together, and this is what it means, kind of thing. So I felt like that was important. And then a book too, because not everybody's going to see this, but more people might be really interested in the book. But that was my idea, because I feel like sometimes if it's laid out like this, people understand it more. It's more than just a psychic medium telling you something, you know? It's that there's the astrology behind it, or the something we can't change. It's the astrology.
Tammy, I just saw the thing up there. Read it.
What?
I just saw what you put pinned.
Oh.
Tammy said. So I was telling her you're welcome.
Okay. Yeah, anything else we want to add?
No, it's been 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay. Well, then we will come back for a part 2, hopefully this week, around the 5th, I'm hoping. Part 2, and we'll go into the times I did the we'll pull charts for the readings that I did with Ted, and what it means and all of that. Like we did when me and you talked. We'll do like a part 2, because that's really interesting, the way that the asteroids, certain asteroids show up, and
yeah,
how basically
because I didn't give you like most of these the last time that we talked. I'm like, because I wanted you to have something new too.
Yeah.
That new information.
Yeah, and then the whole thing about when we did the readings is specific, like we did those readings at that specific time for that specific reason. So I think it's important to show that too, especially the very first time, and then the Idaho 4, because that really shifted everything for him on the other side. So I just think it's important.
I mean, like I said, but those planets all in Scorpio, Brian in Scorpio, all these eclipses, like I said, this is probably why it was, like I said, he came in and helped a lot, because it was pinging all of these things, and your Jupiter is in Scorpio up there in the belief systems, and part of, like I said, it's exactly trying the asteroid Magion, which is one of the most powerful psychics there in the house of Pisces through the veil. And so that means it was all pinged with eclipses. And like I said, that's just, eclipses are divine intervention.
So cool. I love it. So, all right, then we'll see you guys soon. Oh, they want to know if you can book. They can book.
Okay, tell them not to. My booking site is in the link, but don't look till tomorrow, because I do have to change all the hours. So let me do that first. Otherwise, I'd have to cancel everybody, because I just unlocked it, and I just got to change my schedule.
Yeah. So you hear that? Her booking links below, but don't book till tomorrow.
This was
okay.
Great. Thank you for having me. It wasn't so bad.
It wasn't so bad. I think you built it up in your head. She was so nervous. I was like, just talk, like we're talking.
She's like,
what though? And you're natural at it. You're naturally teaching all this. You don't even think you're realizing. Like I said, if you just talk about it, you're teaching it.
I have it in conjunct with my Mercury, which is why I don't see it when it comes to communicating. I don't see it.
That's why you have me here to tell you. So
okay.
All right. So we'll talk and figure out a time for the 5th, and I'll set the live.
You have a great chat.
Huh?
You have a great chat.
I know I do. We don't allow any BS.
So cool.
We have great people in our chat. We do.
She got me used to it.
Yeah, she used to be really scared to come on here, and I would force her. So like, she forces me to do readings. I say, okay, if I got to do a reading, you got to come on with me. And then it was kind of weird. I don't remember. I think, was it Quentin? I think Quentin was the first one we did. And then I realized, hey man, I got some really good information on Quentin, so maybe we need to make this a thing, because it was the back and forth that helped the information come in faster. Like you're talking about the pinging. Mm-hmm. Without that pinging, I feel like I struggle to get some information sometimes, but with the pinging back and forth, I'm able to pull it in easier, because it comes as I'm talking.
That's why in our natal charts, when the transit, which is where the position of the planets are for the day, we definitely do look at degrees for that, because Venus can be trining Mars and they could be getting along, man, woman, or whatever. But if it's not within a degree of a planet in your chart, you're not going to feel that energy. So you kind of, the golden rule is looking to see if a transit planet is within 5 degrees of a planet you have in your natal chart. Then more than likely it will affect you somehow.
Yeah. And that's what I always tell people, like, people meet for a reason. You know, we might not realize the reason at the time, but they meet for a reason. There's always a greater purpose. And so here we are. And to think, you know, when I first met Tammy, we had like 3,000 subs.
I don't know. What do I have? Like 42 subs on my channel?
But I mean, it took me forever because I had to start all over. So it took me forever to get that. So, you know, she's a big reason as to why we've grown so much. So, well, that and
was definitely, well, you got to look at it. Your 10th house is right there on that cusp of Sagittarius. And when all the nodes shifted, it shifted from Sagittarius to Scorpio and a lot of these big transits. So, like I said, it's your time. It was your time so it's a good thing that she did push you out there and to like do this more, because the nodes aren't going to be in that area. Well, it'll be the opposite for another 6 years and another 12 in the same node in those areas.
Does that mean that, like, things are going to continue to shift or grow in this direction? Is that what that means? Because I feel like it really shifted last year. It shifted with Delphi.
Yes, absolutely. Things more and more, because now the eclipses are going to start being in, get ready, Libra and Aries houses.
And what does it mean?
Oh, you only have your lot of spirit there, the moon, Mars, Saturn, Pluto in Libra. You don't have very much there, Rochelle.
So I have everything there, but what does that mean? I don't know. I don't, like, sometimes I'm like, can you like explain like what you mean? You talk like I know what you're saying, and I don't know what you're saying.
You just said there'll be more changes going to happen. I'm just answering that question. Okay, we're not going to get there till we get to that point. We're still in the Taurus, Scorpio eclipses coming up the 5th, and then one more.
So within the next few months.
So then I think the last eclipse of the year is when we are then the first change into the Aries Libra. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me get through this Taurus and Scorpio, because I'm a Taurus ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At 10 degrees opposite your Jupiter, where my Mercury is at exactly 10 degrees. I had an eclipse on it last April, exactly at 10 degrees. Okay. On my Mercury. And at the same time, I have my sun there and my Neptune in Scorpio. So all these eclipses and all this that's going on, I'm like, I'm tired. I've had, and then I have Uranus in my first house, which is completely changing to who you are, and just beating to your own drum. And like me doing this, people would be surprised. Okay, they would never know I do this.
Yeah.
And now my face is out there. That's a totally Uranus thing. All of a sudden you're being your authentic self, and who cares? That's what,
So I poked you like Tammy poked me.
Yes.
Is there, what is it? Is there a, Lizzie's dying to know. Is there a Lizzie asteroid anywhere in there?
A what?
A Lizzie or Liz?
Elizabeth? There's Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, yeah. That's the last question I'll ask.
Let me see if
she's dying. I know when I get off here, she's gonna message me and be like, "Man, I wish I knew if I was in your chart where I was at."
Okay, let me see.
I mean, I talk to her all the time. Poor thing. We constantly blow each other's messenger up.
Okay, well, I'm gonna turn the camera off only because my mouse keeps wanting to drag over there, and I want to be able to click on your chart.
It's weird because your thing like flashed down there.
There.
Yeah.
Okay, that made the mouse move faster. Okay, give me a second. Okay, but it's not making my astrology program move faster.
Well, vanished and forgotten. Wait until you see when we put Ted's and mine's together when we communicated. It's pretty bomb. So I said you guys will have to be here for the next live because I didn't even want to wait, but she's making me wait, so I have to wait. Aquariuses are like that though. We have a hard time being patient about certain things.
Yeah, you're just like matter of factly. Oh no, we can just do it.
I'm not gonna make you wait. Well, because I'm like, because I know how you are. You're so busy, and so I'm worried that I'm not gonna get you back. You know, that's where I'm at.
Right, yeah.
Neo. Yeah. Well, it's just so interesting, karma energy. Like, I don't know. You'll see what I mean whenever you see our charts. I mean, you thought the charts were powerful tonight next to each other. Just wait for the times that we communicated. It's cray cray.
I was hoping to find my longer cord, but it won't do it. All right, let me see. Lizzie, right?
Yeah, or Elizabeth, whatever. Yeah, that's Neo with his tail up in the camera as always.
Okay, Lizro does not work.
He's not the snake that was in my house the other day. The snake down my hallway yesterday. Scared the crap out of me, even though it wasn't a bad snake.
Okay, I got Elizabetha. So that's for the female. Let's see. Okay.
Neo, okay, buddy.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it was a king. It's either king or gopher. It was one of the two. Can't remember what it looked like, and I was freaked out too much to take a picture. So snakes, I mean, are fine as long as they're not in my hallway and I don't have to do it.
Lizzie,
Yeah,
surprisingly, is also in your intercepted house of Aries in the second house, right along with Tammy.
that's not surprising at all.
But hers is at 4 degrees. Okay. So with that has to do with ancestral, mothering, nurturing, looking out for you, but it's also still coming from. Then she's a part of bringing all of that ancient knowledge and all of the things from the past to, like I said, to the what's to come, you know, the ashes that like where we begin Alpha and the Omega. So she's there too with the fourth house. Wow, hers is at 4 degrees. So she trines your Uranus exactly at 4 degrees, which makes her trine Ted Bundy's some of his stuff, right? No, his lot of spirit. His Uranus is on your lot of fortune, right? What was the Uranus of yours that had to do with Ted? That was within 2 degrees of his sun. Because his sun is 2 degrees. So she trines Ted, but like I said, she's trining your Uranus, which is you putting yourself out there, your reputation, all that kind of stuff. But she also gives you a safe place. Does she give you a place to do this?
Yeah, like I talked to her about everything.
Okay. It's like she's your mother.
And she is. And
in that area. Like, so
well, that's why I had a vision. I thought it was an older sister. It could have been mother, but we were talking one day and
definitely family.
Yeah, I had a vision of like back in the day, you know, when they had those like really old nightgowns that were white with the long sleeves. We were sitting on a bed and she was braiding my hair.
Okay.
And so I thought older sister was what it reminded me of, either older sister. I could be motherly, but we're very like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
we can talk about anything, talk for hours. We get along very well, and she always pushes the Ted thing on me. Because she understands it. She's non-judgmental like me, so she she always says, because I said I think Ted's like trying to be a guide or something, and she agrees with that. So it's interesting that you said she kind of trines him.
Yeah, she does.
Which is so weird.
How many times are you going to say this is so weird, but at the same time, it's always right?
I know, but it's just weird. Lizzie's like, I love Ted, because she does. She like her and Tammy like my communications with Ted, but and it's odd because she actually messaged me as like, I feel this pull to you, I feel this connection to you, which I get that a lot. I do get that a lot, but she was like, it's different. I don't usually do this, and it kind of just went from there. And so she does. I ask her
Just like
about
I
things.
felt weird because I kind of like mentioned the content. It's like I know I did this chart, and I said I tried not to say anything in your comments until I know you've already mentioned it or whatever, right? Just out of respect for those things. But I was like, but no, you matched up, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I find that interesting. I always want to know about my chart. And then we discuss it more, but I never have like reached out and communicated like that either. I don't bother people.
I have a lot of people that say they're drawn to me and stuff like that, but it was just different with her. I don't know. There was kind of like this instant thing, but she's supportive in that way. So it's kind of like me, Tammy, and her most of the time working on cases and doing stuff. So it makes sense that they kind of are all right there.
It does, and I like that it's in Aries too.
I don't. So that means that it's just like a soldier feeling, or I know that's Tammy's.
Well, it's kind of like, but it's also it's to initiate things. It is giving you that like to get you to do something. It also helps give you that spark. You do need everything needs a spark to go. Every engine needs a spark. Every engine needs something right to get it to take action. That's Aries. Aries energy. It's Mars. It's our body. It's our head. It's our nose. It's our eyes. It's our first house of what we're out here doing, and Aries rules that natally. But it's cool. You came in with your own little posse.
Yeah, and it took about 10 years to find them. I
Yeah.
went through a lot of other posses that were not posses.
I'm like the cheerleader. Yes, you are. That's perfect. That is perfect. Because you make them emotionally secure to take action, to do things. Yeah, you make them comfortable. That's what that four degrees, is, Lizzie.
Yeah, she's so easygoing. She's a Leo, but my grandma was a Leo. We have that very similar connection where we talk a lot. We talk a lot, her and I.
So, Lizzie, if you're a Leo, what degree is your sun? Do you know?
She probably doesn't know.
If it's like 9 degree, I'm gonna freak out. She probably doesn't know.
She probably doesn't know.
Because if her sun is at 9 degrees Leo, that would make her on Ted Bundy's Lot of Fortune.
Holy crap, that would be weird.
I
am going to make a shirt that says weird is my favorite word.
Saturn is at 8 degrees of Leo. His Lot of Fortune's at 9 of Leo. His Pluto is at 13 of Leo. So I'd be curious to know what her sun is. Her Mercury might be in Leo too. Because Mercury can only go so far from the sun. So her
maybe
Mercury
he was
either in Cancer, Leo, or Virgo, but her Mercury could not be in any other sign.
Wouldn't it be weird if, and weird again, but wouldn't it be weird if like we were all family? Me, her, and Ted.
And remember, my moon, right, which is family, is on your north node.
So what are you saying? We had a past life together or something?
You were supposed to find me and be a part of my family stuff with this kind of stuff because it's my moon, and which is also the mother thing, ancestry. But your north node is to get to the moon, my moon type thing. Yeah.
She's like, that's why I encourage Ted so much. She does, because there was a time where I was like, man, I don't know, people are hating on me. Like, should I be doing this? But then she's like, no, you need to do it. Everything's fine. So she always kind of, her and Tammy are always like, yes, they like it. because they're non-judgmental, so they get it like I do.
Right.
And they don't like when people attack me over it either. It's kind of weird, all the connections. That's why I find it so interesting.
I know,
like,
isn't
the
it?
astrology, like all the
To
connections.
me, it's kind
is
of
so
like
cool.
reassuring.
Yeah.
It is. It's so reassuring, but I find it's so fascinating.
And I think it was like I was talking to either her, Tammy, or I think both of them. And Ted came over and he's like waving his hands at me. I was working Anna Walsh.
Okay.
And he wanted to show me stuff about that. Like he started showing me a park and a marsh. Like he started showing me all this different stuff. But he was like trying to get my attention. That's the first time he's ever come to me without me pulling him in, you know? And I used him on JJ because JJ was alive and I wasn't getting crap.
Mm-hmm.
And he helped me find him. So, I mean, we'll have the area where he was, right? So, I mean, it's all positive and it's all like a meant to be thing.
4:00 in the morning here.
Yep.
You can stay here and chat with your chat and continue.
No, we're gonna let you go. Everybody likes you. They can't help you. They can't help it.
All right. So, thank you, everyone. You guys have you guys are wonderful. You really are.
We'll have to set it up. Don't ditch me on the 5th. Because I don't have the patience.
No, the only way I would ditch you is if the eclipse, made it happen and interfered and something just out of the blue happens. Okay.
Yeah.
The 5th.
Well, we have to just
be the only way. Okay.
It depends on if you want to do it earlier or later. That's the thing.
My reading. I find it's cool. We're gonna have an eclipse, and Jupiter is coming out from the underground world, which is like these are all heliacal phases, which really shows what's going on in the skies that we don't see on paper. They teach us, but there's so much more going on with astrology and these planets than yeah.
So let me know a time. I just have an hour reading at 8, and so
an hour. That's 8. That would be 11 p.m. my time.
Yeah. So do you want to do it earlier? We could do it earlier. We could do like 5 my time if you want to. I just have to make sure I'm off in time for my reading. That's all. That's 8 your time. 5 my time is 8 your time. We're 3 hours. So.
Okay, I'll look at it and I'll look at the transits. You know me.
Okay.
See where the moon is.
Well, thank you for your expertise. We enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good night. Thank you for being so great. Cat butt in my face. Thank you guys. Good night.
Good night.